Rosenblatt Stadium, Omaha, Nebraska, one of baseball's gems. One of the great keepers of championship moments. And this year's NCAA College World Series has added to those moments and those memories. Two teams both going further than ever before in team history. Both experiencing that Omaha magic they've heard about their whole lives. Now on this Monday evening in June, North Carolina and Oregon State play their ultimate game. Not of their season, but of their lives.
We came out here and everybody was just kind of bright-eyed. We were really excited to be here. We feel like we have the type of team that can bring home a national championship.
Every college baseball player except for two teams is going to be sitting at home watching us play, or they're going to be in the stands watching. So being here is really something special, and it needs to be cherished for the rest of your life.
All the while, the Rosenblatt faithful watch, hanging on every pitch, knowing that in Omaha, it's never over. You're never down and out. It's Game 3, the deciding game of the 2006 Championship Series.
Boy, Walbert, that a boy!
It's all decided here, and it's all decided now.
The stage is set for the final act of a drama that has played out over the course of an entire season. The curtain will fall tonight in Omaha, Nebraska, and usher in a new national champion. The College World Series is available in high definition. Tonight's championship game available on ESPN HD. It's Game 3 of the Championship Series, matching the Tar Heels of North Carolina against the Oregon State Beavers. These two teams are the survivors of a College World Series grind that began 11 days ago, leaving 6 other qualifiers in their wake. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Harold Reynolds. It's great to have you with us. Oregon State is trying to become only the second team in the last 25 years to lose its opening game here in Omaha and then fight back and win a national championship. But that trip through the losers bracket has pretty much fried their pitching. Even their closer, Kevin Gunderson, had to go more than 5 last night, Harold.
Well, you're absolutely right. So what do they got to do? They got to go back to another one of their starters, Jonah Nickerson, and ask more from him. He's already thrown over 200 pitches here in the College World Series, and the key is going to be this time he's throwing on 3 days rest. They're hoping, Mike, that he can get him 5 or 6 innings. For North Carolina, they made some changes defensively. You saw the miscues yesterday. Well, they moved Chad Flack from first base to third base, and they moved Tim Federodes from behind the plate to play first base. They're hoping they can catch the ball and keep this a close ball game.
What are the critical things we should watch for tonight?
Well, I think the main thing, one, for Oregon State, how far can Nickerson actually go? Dallas Buck said he can come back, and believe it or not, the closer, Gunderson, says he can throw if he needs to. For North Carolina, I think the key is going to be defense, and they made some adjustments. Can those guys that haven't played very often in those positions come through tonight?
Well, one thing is for sure, an outstanding pitching matchup. Nickerson will go tonight, 3 days rest after 2 days rest. Daniel Bard gets his second start after winning his first. The first pitch of the national championship game is coming up from Omaha. Welcome back to Omaha, Nebraska for the championship game of the College World Series. Let's go down to the field and Aaron Andrews.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. A couple of numbers for you. So far this season here in Omaha, Oregon State 5-0 in elimination games. Now for UNC, last night, their first loss. This will be the very first time they've faced elimination. But I was speaking with UNC's Chad Flack, and he told me that is something that is far from their mind. He said, you can throw out the numbers, we don't care, it's the national championship. And Mike, that attitude goes right along with UNC saying that they adopted from last year. Nothing will break our spirit. They felt a lot of times last season, once an inning or once a game, their spirit was broken. But I was assured this season, that hasn't been the case, and tonight it won't be a problem.
Well, Aaron, they've had a magical season to this point, and let's take a look at our Sonic starting lineup for the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Cavassini will lead it off and play center field. Reed Frank, normally the third baseman, will be the DH tonight and hit second. Josh Horton is the shortstop. Chad Flack has just been crushing the ball. He'll move from first to third. Jay Cox, the left fielder. Tim Fedorovich hits sixth and will play first base. Normally splits time behind the plate. Seth Williams is the right fielder. Benji Johnson will get the catching assignment tonight and hit eighth. And Garrett Gore, the second baseman, will bat ninth. For the starting pitcher, let's go to Kyle Peterson.
Thank you, Mike. Jonah Nickerson on the mound tonight for Oregon State. The third start that he's making in this College World Series. And his stuff has been unbelievable. Has not given up a run up to this point. The key to Nickerson is his cut fastball. It's that fastball that's going to move just a little bit away from the right-handed hitters. It's really what he lives off of. You're going to see a slider to go along with that. But tonight, I think the one thing to watch with Nickerson is the fact he has pitched on short rest now twice. Could be a problem when we enter the fifth and sixth inning. Watch if that ball starts coming up the zone, because if he keeps it down, Nickerson's going to have a ton of success.
Well, Kyle, last time we saw Nickerson, he had a little bit of a blister on his hand. You want to explain that real quick, how that might affect him?
You know, it was a situation where he had a fingernail on his middle finger that was coming through and kind of cutting his thumb. He said it's not a problem today, but it's something to watch, because if that opens back up, the key is whether or not he changes his mechanics. The other night, it didn't really look like it affected him late.
Talked to him earlier today, and he said that he was going to super glue that down to make sure that didn't come out, Mike. I guess the super glue must work.
It must. I didn't know it was used for that purpose.
Kyle, you pitchers.
Guys are tough, aren't they? They're all tough. Nickerson through 2 games with a 1.23 ERA, 2 wins. Cavassini will lead it off. He's only hitting 182 here at the College World Series. And they really have yet to be able to take advantage of that great speed that he has.
He's a big part of their offense. Every time he has gotten on, he's created things. Just like you said, he hasn't got on very often.
Had a great second half of the season after he struggled early. Actually found himself on the bench. They didn't want to destroy his confidence by just leaving him in there and have everything go right down the tube. So they sat him down, brought him back slowly. And he has found himself in a mini slump out here in Omaha. 0 for 13. This one's chopped foul. And the wind again is blowing from left to right and in.
Yeah, it's interesting. You got to keep your eye on that wind, because it changes repeatedly here.
That one stabbed at second base. The throw got him. Garrett Gore. Excuse me, that's Kunda. And boy, has he shown us some leather the entire tournament.
He's unbelievable. He was a Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. Tremendous range, and you got a guy that can fly going down the baseline. To throw this from his knees, he's shown us everything you can do from second base. Turns a great double play, and Mike, this is just beautiful from the knees. Nice flip right on target.
Normally, this is a term reserved for football, but he's got tremendous closing speed on the baseball.
Yes, he does.
It's about the third one that looked for all the world like it was through, but he wouldn't give up on it. Frank hit hard down to first. Rao will come up and toss to the pitcher covering. 2 out. Mike Fox in his first College World Series appearance as a coach. Been here as a player for North Carolina.
He's done a great job building this program and bringing it around. You would think a school like North Carolina would have a rich tradition in baseball too.
Certainly have it in everything else with 31 NCAA championships to their credit, but none in baseball. In fact, the ACC hasn't won one since 1955 when Wake Forest did it. And that was the only national championship in baseball.
Wow. It's a long stretch.
But the obvious signs that the ACC has become a powerhouse. They had 4 of the 8 teams out here. And North Carolina, really the least known of those programs. It's just a tremendous league. They're loaded.
A lot of clubs getting a chance to come out this way out of that league.
Josh Horton takes that one high, 2-2. Horton hitting .318 in Omaha, but he is 0 for 8 here through 2 games of the championship series. Grounded to short. Barney. 1-2-3. Highlighted by a spectacular play at second by Chris Kunda. We'll go to the bottom of the first. 0-0. We'll go to the bottom of the first at the College World Series in Omaha. There is no score, and let's take a look at our Sonic starting lineups for the Beavers of Oregon State, who are going for their 50th victory this year. Darwin Barney will lead it off at shortstop. Mitch Canham, who has really gotten hot as the catcher, he bats second. Cole Gillespie, the Pac-10 Player of the Year, plays left and hits third. Bill Rao's been on fire. He's the first baseman and the cleanup hitter. Tyler Graham will hit fifth and play center field, the defensive star of this team. John Wallace will bat sixth. Chris Kunda, you already saw what a tremendous defensive player he is at second base. Shea McFeely at third, hitting eighth, and Mike Listman will be the DH tonight. He's a right-handed batter, and to see who will face that lineup, let's go to Kyle Peters.
I'm going to face Daniel Bard tonight, the big right-hander who has big-time stuff. A fastball that can reach into the mid-90s and a slider that he really uses as his out pitch. And the 2 things to watch tonight with Bard is, one, can he get ahead with the fastball? It was something that he did do in game 1. But one thing he didn't do was finish guys off. There was a lot of plus counts that he gave up hits. He gave up 12 hits in 6 innings his first time here in Omaha. So watch when he gets ahead if he's finishing these Oregon State hitters off. When he does, Bard is real tough to hit.
First round draft choice, 28th overall pick by the Boston Red Sox. One of 2 first round draft choice out of the starting pack for North Carolina.
Now, Andrew Miller, the other guy, he was a 6th pick that went to Detroit Tigers. With that pick, Bard is from Massachusetts. He's very excited to get an opportunity to be drafted by the Red Sox, and he has a younger brother will be going to North Carolina next year as a freshman, and he's also pitches a little bit but plays on the field. He's a 2-way player for them, so the family getting it done.
Now, when you start getting families recruited, you hope they've got about 9 kids.
Exactly.
And they all want to play baseball.
Exactly.
Preferably spaced a couple of years apart.
Keep it going for a while. Well, it's interesting as Barney steps in and Bard gets himself ready. The shadows have kind of creeped in. They were in during North Carolina's at bat also. And we touched on this before. When you're facing the guy out of the shadows, he starts in the light, the ball comes into the dark. And when you have a devastating slider like Bard throws, that becomes a very difficult pitch to pick up. So we'll keep an eye on that as we continue through the shadows.
Barney all Pac-10 for the 2nd straight year. That's a fastball that misses.
98 first pitch.
Joe Burleson is the home plate umpire of this outstanding crew tonight. We have 6 for the championship series. There's one downstairs, 2-0.
Well, he's got a free and easy motion, doesn't he?
He sure does.
Wow.
Fastball in a corner at the knees. Darwin Barney hitting .308 in the College World Series. He has 8 hits in 26 at bats. Even with the pitching situation, Harold, you've got to think psychologically Oregon State's got the edge. Just the way they have come back every time they've been in a hole.
And they feed off it too. I mean, that's what all the kids were talking about, is momentum is on our side, and You know, I've never seen it more so than in a college baseball game, because every play to these guys is emotional. They're all yelling and screaming regardless.
Count rides at 3-2. Oregon State, the only team back in the field from a year ago, Pat Casey, with back-to-back Pac-10 Coach of the Year awards. This one into shallow right center field, dropping for a base hit. And Darwin Barney leads off the Oregon State first with a single.
Well, it was a nice piece of hit, and he got a fastball inside. He just kind of fought it off, and you'll see that with an aluminum bat. This ball just fights it off and lands it right out there. Couldn't place it any better. And you see it just in front of the center fielder. That's one thing that you will notice as they've become familiar with playing against each other. The ball, you have to really find a hole in this third game, because most guys are already positioned well.
Mitch Canham, the catcher, pulls it back. He has been hot out here. 348, 4 runs driven in.
Well, I kind of chuckled, Mike, because he squared around, he pulled back the butcher boy and saw the ball coming inside. He threw the elbow pad out there. I mean, he tried.
He did it all, didn't he?
Did it all.
Pretty active first pitch.
Yeah, especially when the ball's coming in at 96.
Maybe I'll bunt, maybe I'll hit, maybe I'll get hit. Outside, Benji Johnson pops out of his crouch and looks down toward first but doesn't throw. Our tourney track tells us no outs and a runner at first. Under 50% you score. Goes up exponentially from there. One and one to Canham. Foul back. Oregon State trying to join a group of Pac-10 teams led by USC with 13 national championships in baseball. They have never won one. Harold, what was the one team title that they won?
They won it cross country 1961. They won it. The following year, Terry Baker won the Heisman Trophy. Terry, I heard that he was out here. There's been a sighting of him being out here visiting and watching all the games.
Like to see him.
Well, we'll get to Terry later. He's running around.
1-2 now. 2-2 to Canham on a high fastball. Another perfect night for baseball.
Well, and you saw the tourney track. A lot of times with college baseball, they don't like to steal this guy. So you saw it was under 50% when the leadoff guy gets on and scores. They don't run much, and sometimes they let the second hitter hit a lot and they don't bunt. So it's tough to get him in the runner scoring position.
There he goes. Throw down. Not in time. Stolen base for Darwin Barney. And a full count on Canham.
Well, the one thing that happens when you run, a lot of times the catcher's going to pop up. Now, that was a pretty good pitch. You look at this pitch right here. Well, it ends up being high. The catcher comes up and makes a strong throw. Barney got a good jump and a high throw. Now, remember, they changed catchers tonight. Fedorovich has been back there, and now you got Johnson. So they've made some defensive changes to try to help their defense out.
They had all sorts of defensive problems last night that contributed to their loss. They just couldn't make routine plays. Here's the 3-2. Skied to center field. Cavassini comes on and coming in. No chance for the runner to advance. 1 out. There are some rules, Harold, that are different from the major leagues in college.
Well, yeah, there really are. I mean, you can see a whole list of them, but things that stand out, I think, on the double play, we've seen it quite a bit. You have to slide directly into the base. Defensive coach must make 3 trips to mound during the course of the game. You know, in Major League Baseball, you may see a guy going out all the time. So there's a lot of different rules here, and it makes the game, because of the style of play, it changes it.
Well, after the stolen base, Canham was trying to pull that ball to at least get the runner to third with less than 2 out. but he hit a lazy fly ball to shallow center. So now Gillespie stands in with 1 out and a runner at second.
Yeah, you like when a hitter has 2 strikes on him. Just go ahead and hit the ball wherever it's pitched at. After that, you try to do too much and you end up doing what he did, popping up on a pitch you should be taking.
That one hit him. They love to come inside to Cole Gillespie. That time they came in too far.
Well, they've been busting Cole Gillespie inside for the last 3 games. Well, this is the 3rd game for the last 2 games. He's trying to get out of the way. I don't think you like to get hit on the elbow. He wants to hit. You don't want him to get hit that pitch.
Bard has now plunked 24 guys this year.
Well, they like to pitch inside, and that's one of the things that I know as a pro scout they really enjoy scouting North Carolina, because your pitchers are learning how to pitch in.
Better be careful here. Bill Rao is the hottest hitter out here. Takes a called strike there. He leads the College World Series with 11 hits and with 8 RBIs, and is hitting .458. Wow. It's a young man who was not drafted, and after seeing him play out here, everybody is saying, what?
Yeah, and he's hitting some of the best pitching in the country. You would think that he'd have an opportunity.
Rao has really raised that average and hasn't shown all that much power throughout the season. 6 home runs. But his ability better than those numbers.
Well, he should get an opportunity to play, particularly senior year here. Somebody should sign this guy and give him a chance. But I'm watching Bard right now too. Last pitch 98, the pitch before that 97. I mean, he's heating that gun up.
No balls and 2 strikes to Rao. 2 on 1 out.
That's just nasty, just burying it in on his hands right there. And you got to remember, when you look at guys that are drafted in the 1st round and they get beat up while they're out here, scouts are drafting on potential. And if you see this young man, you say, oh, no doubt about it. The results aren't always great because aluminum bat, they fight balls off. But right there, he's going back getting another piece of wood. That one too. That's too bad.
You're right.
But with that aluminum, hey, stay in there and get another swing.
Count rides 0-2. Big at bat for both ball clubs here in the 1st inning. Went after a pitch way out of the strike zone and fouled it back. I'm amazed that he caught up to that.
Well, he backed off the plate a little bit and he opened up on that swing. He knows the 98's coming. He hasn't shown a breaking ball yet, so as a hitter you almost just have to eliminate it. You can't look for anything else when you got a guy throwing that hard anyway.
Last 7 pitches have been between 96 and 98. That one missed outside, clocked at 98.
And that's just easy gas. I mean, that's the type of stuff that just jumps on you. It's nice and easy, effortless.
You wouldn't think he'd have much problem touching 100 if he reached back a little bit. There's another fastball, popped straight up this time. Bard is calling for it himself, and then a late call off by his 3rd baseman who makes the catch. And Bard wanted to make that play. McFeely finally got over there and made it for him.
Well, this is an infield fly rule. 1 out, 1st and 2nd. This infield fly. So if they even drop this, the batter's automatically out. That's the rule. He wanted to take that himself, but normally you're going to clear out of there. There was no effort at all from the 1st baseman who was playing back. That ball could have dropped in, and the runners advance on their own risk.
Tyler Graham with 2 out. Inside corner, another blazing fastball from Daniel Bard.
Kyle was saying he likes to throw that slider as his out pitch, but he's just reaching back, bringing that gas tonight.
Whoa. Fortunately, that was a breaking pitch, which gave him a little extra time to get out of the way.
This ball he just did not get there, and he just got out of the way of that barely. Didn't get his arm up enough to get that snap back.
Now, if that's a fastball, you're in a lot of trouble.
He's hit.
1-1 to Graham. Back up the middle. Gore's there. He'll take it himself. The inning is over. Oregon State threatens but does not score. Omaha, Nebraska on a beautiful summer evening. 0-0 as we go to the second inning at the College World Series. And here were the results of the previous two games in this championship set. North Carolina wins the first game. Chad Flack, the big blow was his triple of his 4 hits. Scored on a pass ball. That was the winning run. Gunderson, 5 1/3. He's the closer for this ball club. Came in last night for Oregon State. Actually picked up the victory as they came from behind to even the series at 1-1.
The other thing about that game last night, the deception of it was no errors. You know, and North Carolina had about 3 or 4 mental errors that really cost them that just don't show up in the box score.
They were blunders, no doubt about it. Flack, Cox, and Fedorovich to hit here in the second.
Flack has been as hot as anybody here, and he's very aggressive. He swings early in the count.
The all-time single season leader in hits. He has 111 and counting for North Carolina. Josh Horton is also in this club. He's number 2 at 106. One and 2 to Flack. That's Fedorovich. He and Cox are on deck. Swung at a bad pitch there, really fooled him. Let's go back to the studio. Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Bill Pito. All right, thanks, Bill. A lot of flops in soccer, aren't they?
Well, there's a big controversy. The refs are ruining the World Cup.
Well, they flop like bunny ears do. They just go down, no point, and they get the calls.
Yeah. Get the free kick, and that's it. Jay Cox he has been the guy at a 2-homer game a couple games ago, and he has really swung the bat nice also. One of their hotter hitters in the lineup.
Driven in 6 runs here in Omaha. 22nd round draft choice in the recent Major League draft by Colorado. He's gone.
Well, we're seeing 2 different types of pitchers. You know, Bard with just overpowering stuff, and then Nickerson really hitting the corners right here. A breaking ball in the outside half, and when you can throw that backdoor breaking pitch, it becomes very difficult to hit. Now remember, the shadows come into play, and that's a ball to a left-hander that didn't seem to break back the way you wanted to, and it continues to go the other way. Tough to reach.
Fedorovich stands in. He played first earlier in the season. Just 3 times.
Well, here's a look at the shadows, and here's what I mean. With a breaking ball, see that ball disappear. A fastball, you can kind of anticipate where it's going to end up. With the breaking pitch, if it doesn't break properly, you're in trouble.
Fedorovich, the leader on this club at the College World Series in RBIs. He has 7 to go with his 2 home runs and a .364 batting average in Omaha. Tell you what, Nickerson nibbling at the corners and hitting every one. 3 up, 3 down. Great inning for Nickerson. We'll go to the bottom of the second, scoreless. Back in Omaha, Nebraska at beautiful Rosenblatt Stadium, 0-0. Second inning. It's game 3 and the deciding game of the College World Series. Oregon State has the only hit so far. Here's how Oregon State got here as we take a look at our road to Omaha for the Beavers. They won the regional at their home ballpark in Corvallis, then beat Stanford in the Super Regional, pounded them out in 2 games. 5-2 here at the College World Series, or 5-2 overall in the College World Series.
It's a lot of games, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's their 8th game, and it's funny how all these guys understand the numbers. See the first pitch to Wallace. Says, what I mean by that is they understand the numbers. I was talking with Gunnarsson. He said, hey, there's been 16 games played here. After tonight, we'll have played 8. That means we'll have played half the games played here at the College World Series. I'm like, okay, well, gee, wow, that's pretty cool. They know it all.
Well, baseball's all about numbers. Wallace to lead it off, followed by Kunda and McFeely. Wallace has had a good series. Contact hitter is hitting over 300 out here.
Oh, look out. That's going to clean somebody out right there.
Boy. And they can't seem to lay off the high stuff right now. I hope that young man's all right.
Yeah. I hit him pretty hard.
Gets there in a real hurry. You can see the fans looking over, the players looking over.
Yeah, that was
in the crowd.
Scary. Oh, they got the paramedics got there pretty quick. They're gonna check on him. It's awful scary when those balls are hit so hard.
Oh. Sure hope he's all right. Took something off that time and got the strikeout.
Well, you could tell Wallace's head wasn't into it. You know, I've done that before. You hit a ball in the stands, and you hit somebody, you just forget about your at bat.
Yeah.
You start thinking about the person.
North Carolina won the regional in Chapel Hill. Now, this is after they lost 2 straight in the ACC tournament and went out. They beat Alabama in the Super Regional in 2. They have lost a single game out here in Omaha, and that was last night to force game 3. This one hit down the right side and foul.
Well, the young man that got hit has finally got his breath back. I think it just knocked the wind out of him, and that was a scary moment for everybody sitting in the stands. There he is. He's starting to come back now, getting some color back. But man, he got hit pretty hard.
Well, he's hanging in there pretty good, isn't he?
He's not leaving. Championship game.
Breaking pitch for a called strike. You know, the paramedics do a wonderful job out here. The police was talking to Officer Cunningham last night, and he was one of the officers with the great dogs that come around and sniff for all sorts of things that could get us all in trouble. And they do such good work out here trying to protect everybody. And our hats are off to them because it's not an easy job.
Oh, and they're giving him a standing ovation now. We got protection everywhere here. In the meantime, Daniel Bard is just sitting there just locating every pitch he wants. It's going to be interesting because he hasn't got the feel for the breaking ball yet. We saw the one breaking pitch he threw behind the batter. The other one hasn't been for a strike, and that's another one.
Kunda lofts it to deep left center field, but remember, that's into the wind, and it gives Cavassini a chance to get back and make the catch. Hope you'll join ESPN2 tomorrow morning. Coverage of the 120th Wimbledon Tennis Championships begin. The day starts at 7 a.m. Eastern with the latest news on Wake Up to Wimbledon presented by Dell. Then at 8 a.m. Eastern, catch 9 hours of early round coverage, including Andre Agassi's first match of his last Wimbledon. Finally at 1 a.m. Eastern, highlights from all the day 2 matches on today at Wimbledon. Blooped and into right field. Thought maybe Garrett Gore was going to be able to make another spectacular play, but even he couldn't catch up to that one. And it's a base hit from McFeely.
Perfect placement. Now, the interesting thing is, as this game progresses, you got to start looking down the road, is Daniel Bard doesn't have a lot of confidence in his breaking ball. He threw one behind the batter, the ball that Kunda just hit the center. And so it'd be interesting to see if Oregon State just eliminates the breaking pitch and starts to look for that fastball.
Listman, the 9-hitter, the designated hitter today, takes a fastball.
You can eliminate whatever you want, but when they're throwing 98, here it comes. I dare you to hit it.
Yeah, knowing it's coming and doing something with it are two entirely different things. Oh, 0-2 to Listman. Runner at first, 2 outs in the second. Chopped over the mound. Horton, nice play and got him. We have played 2 full of the College World Series, North Carolina and Oregon State, and we are scoreless. We have had so much fun out here again. Let's catch up on some of the storylines for the College World Series. Both North Carolina and Oregon State, their first appearance in the finals. 4 ACC teams made the field. That ties a record. Runs per game, well, still low. Not as low as last year, but low enough. And Rice, the record they did not want. 23 consecutive innings without a run.
Yeah, they really got shut down.
And a lot of people thought they were going to win this thing.
Well, they were the #1 ranked team in the country coming in.
Yeah.
#1 seed.
That has to be an umpire's family.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's all right. Boy, I think Oregon State has found something. You know, North Carolina didn't hit hardly any balls to right field at all. And Flack hit the triple, but they haven't made the adjustment to take that ball the other way. Each guy is pulling off that outside pitch.
This is Seth Williams to lead it off.
There's that cutter that we talked about in the open. It's a pitch that starts on the outside half, and by the time you identify it and start your swing, it's breaking away. They've got to have an approach thinking go to right field, or else they're not going to hit a ball all night.
Boy, Nickerson is just painting corners.
He's just living on that.
Struck out the side in the last inning. And he's facing the bottom third of the order here in inning number 3. And that's on the corner. He's fanned 4 in a row.
Well, if you're looking at one of the things that Nickerson's doing a great job of, is exploiting their, even as soon as they get in a batter's stance. Look at Williams. He has an open stance. He's just going to stay outside. If you get that generous of a corner, forget about it. Nobody's going to hit that anyway. That ball's in the other batter's box. But, you know, that's tough to hit.
Benji Johnson. So now if you're doing that well on the outside, if you come inside, is it just to show it to him?
Yeah, I would think so. If you come in and throw it over the plate, it's a mistake. I think you just got to live out there the whole time, make them have to make an adjustment.
Nickerson has now gone 12 scoreless innings in a row. And Johnson stands in at 273 with a 1-1 count. Nobody on, 1 out here in the third. Breaking pitch at the shortstop. Darwin Barney throws him out. 2 gone.
You know, while the next hitter's walking up there, Kyle, as a pitcher, do you see where a guy's stance is at, like Nickerson, and say, all right, I'm going to stay outside with this cutter?
I think you have to. I mean, especially with right-handers. You were talking about it just a minute ago, but in his 2 starts, that's the one thing that right-handers haven't done. They haven't crawled on the plate. And if I'm on that side, or even lefty stepping off the plate, I'm going to force him to stay on the opposite side, because if he's throwing that cutter for a strike and guys aren't making an adjustment, they're just not going to hit him.
That one's a little bit low. Garrett Gore, the number 9 man in the order, the second baseman, really struggled out here. 2 for 17, a 118 batting average after 230 during the regular season. There's another one outside and foul back.
You know, believe it or not, Gore's the one guy who's got the right approach. He's on top of the plate, and he's the guy who hits the ball to right field a lot anyway. So he has a better chance than anybody right now.
Just going to say that's his style, so they come up and in.
And that just shows the ability of Jonah Nickerson to do whatever he wants to do on the mound right now.
The question is, how long can he go? Rolled to second base. Kunda throws him out. Another easy inning for Jonah Nickerson. He has retired the first 9 he's faced. Welcome back to Omaha, Nebraska. Great ball game for the national championship. 0-0. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Daniel Bard so far, Kyle, good old country hardball.
Yeah, you know what's coming. I mean, he's thrown 39 pitches so far in this ball game. 34 have been fastballs, and we've seen 5 sliders. The slider's been inconsistent, and really in Bard's first start, it was exactly the same thing. The first couple of innings, you saw a ton of fastballs. The slider wasn't quite there, but when he got to the 3rd or 4th inning, it seemed like he found it a little bit, and that's when he really started pitching. But guys, if he's throwing 97, 98, 99, I don't know if he needs to find a slider tonight.
He really doesn't. And that's just, here it is. I dare you to hit it. But the shadows are creeping out of the way. It's going to become a little easier to pick up the ball off him, and we'll just have to see what Oregon State does. But I love watching this guy pitch, Mike. And here it is. I dare you. Here it is. I'm coming after you.
The victory against Cal State Fullerton. He was touched up for 12 hits and 6 innings, allowed 5 earned runs, and struck out only 2 with that tremendous fastball.
Well, there's an old saying, you can't sneak the cheese by the rat. And you know, in this day and age, you almost can't throw a fastball hard enough. You have to have a breaking pitch to keep guys honest, and that's a great slider right there. Changes the whole at bat.
15, 16, 17 mile an hour differential. Oh, that looked good. And unless you're guessing slider, you can't hit that.
Hitting it. But now all of a sudden you know you're going to get a fastball right here. So Barney should be geared up for a fastball. He missed with, and he's back to 2-1.
Barney started the game off with a base hit. Had a stolen base. He was at second with nobody out in the first, but Oregon State couldn't convert. Strike 2, full count to Darwin Barney, leading off the 3rd. Remember how important that first run is. It's an overwhelming advantage to score first at the College World Series.
That was an unusual pitch. He threw a 3-2 slider right there. Surprised at that. Yeah, last night is probably the first time we've been given that stat that it didn't hold true. I mean, last night, first team that scored didn't win.
Hit wide of 3rd. And the play by McFeely. Coverage of the IMG Par 3 shootout returns to ESPN2 tonight, live from the Treetops Resort in Michigan. 2005 champion Andy North returns to defend his title against Masters champion Phil Mickelson. Fred Couples and Craig Stadler as the foursome swing for a $500,000 purse. The IMG Par 3 shootout on ESPN2 tonight at 10 Eastern, tomorrow at 8 Eastern, also available on high definition. Said McFeely, obviously that was Flack making the play at 3rd base. This one dumped into left field for a base hit. Canham is on.
Well, it'll be interesting here to see what happens with Cole Gillespie. If I think Bard's got to make an adjustment, go to the outside half of the plate on this guy, because they've continued to pitch him inside the whole time. And you don't put numbers up like that and continue to throw a guy in the same place and think he's not going to hurt you.
Well, they've jammed him for 10 days. That one's, well, on the outside part of the plate.
And that's enough to keep him honest right there. You just have to keep changing. You know, the baseball is a game of adjustments, and the more you see somebody else, you have to continue to adjust your game.
Nickerson, who has been perfect so far for Oregon State, hoping his teammates can put something on the board for him. One ball and a strike to Gillespie, the Pac-10 Player of the Year. First team All-American by Baseball America. Fastball down to first, steps on the bag, throws to second. They have to make the tag, and they do.
It's a foul ball.
No play.
And this is the home plate umpire's ball in front of the base. Home plate umpire's call. Behind the base is the first base umpire's call. He got this right. Now remember, the ball is not where the position of the defender is. It's where the baseball's at. You see this ball right here. That ball's going foul before it got to the base. And he got the call right.
That's right. Ball and 2 strikes to Gillespie. Let's see if that turns out to be a break for Oregon State.
Well, the natives are getting a little restless, but that ball's off the plate. I mean, the umpire, believe it or not, home plate ump's having a pretty good game as far as being consistent. He's had a couple tough plays right there, and he got them right. The pitch and the play down the line.
Two and 2 to Gillespie. Instead, the throw to first. Fouled out of play. Canham, the runner at first, is a good runner. Doesn't have a lot of speed, but very smart on the base paths with good instincts.
Well, you may see a delayed steal. Mike, let's go back to that play. Now here it is from a different angle for you at home. Watch the first baseman where he's set up at. Now this ball, he's going to shift his body to go get it. That ball's in foul territory, and it's before the base, and that's the key. Once the ball gets to the base, it's got to go over the base and go into foul territory is okay. It'd be a fair ball, but once it's outside the base before it gets to first base, that's a foul ball. And that's why I was saying he got that call right.
Gillespie at 3-2. Do they send Canham? They do. Struck him out. The throw behind the runner into center field. Canham on his way to third. Here's the center fielder Cavassini. The throw not in time.
Time out.
Great hustle by Canham.
And we got a little injury at second base on Gore on the coverage. Now watch the throw. Watch Gore to second baseman. He's going to get taken out because he's trying to go back to get the ball. And just very good running the whole way. But here's the throw. Heads back into the runner. He gets up. He gets cleated, and that hurts, man. He's trying to go get the ball. But when that ball tails back, it's a difficult play for the second baseman because you got all your momentum going to cover, and then you have to shift your body to go back and get it.
Canham came in hard, then had to get up and hustle to make third base. So Gillespie's the second out of the inning on the strikeout. Canham ends up at third. North Carolina's 7th error of the College World Series. Oregon State has committed only 3, and they've played 7 games.
Well, you know, and they changed the catcher tonight too, and that's two throws that have been difficult for Johnson to make.
Both have sailed right.
Yes.
Bill Rao 0 for 1. Tried to check his swing. Foul tipped into the catcher Benji Johnson's glove. Didn't want to swing, but did. 0-2.
Well, anytime you get a ball up in your eyes, it looks very hittable. But the difference with Bard on the mound is 98 isn't hittable when it's at your eyes.
Yeah.
It's by you. And that's what happened right there.
Oregon State has had a base hit in every inning. Not yet scored. High fastball lofted to right. And Williams settles under for the third out. Runner stranded to third. We have played 3 full for a national championship. There is no score. Beautifully pitched game so far. Back at the College World Series in Omaha. We'll go to the 4th inning with no score in a national championship game. Let's check in with Harold Reynolds. He's in the Home Depot coaching clinic.
Well, Mike, one of the things that Jonah's been able to do is throw that cutter. And that's a ball that comes here and cuts away from the right-hander. So 2 things you can do. One, you can get on top of the plate and take away that ball breaking on you. Or you got to definitely make your attempt to take the ball to the right side. Here's what we're talking about. Here's what he's been able to do against all the North Carolina hitters, particularly the right-handers. There's a slider away. Then another breaking ball, but the cutter's been the prince. That's been the problem. That's the cut fastball right there I was just talking about. And as it breaks off the plate, you have to have an approach where I'm going to take everything to right field. So I'm going to start here and look for a ball to go away from me, and I want to drive that ball to right. If they don't make that adjustment, they're going to be mowed down all night like he's been doing right now.
He has been exceptional so far, hasn't he?
He really has.
No hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Nickerson bidding for his 3rd win in the College World Series. He went on 2 days rest, turns around, comes back, goes on 3 days rest, and the first starting pitcher in the last 61 games in Omaha to be perfect his first 3 innings. And he has been just that, retiring all 9 batters he faced without a hit. Walk, no hit by pitch, no errors. There hasn't been a ball out of the infield against him. This one's chopped back up the middle against a guy who can fly. The throw not in time. Kunda made a heck of a play, but Cavassini can burn down the line and beats it out for the first hit of the game.
Well, and this is one of those plays that you want the shortstop to take this ball, believe it or not. Barney's coming all the way across. He's got the angle. See, and Kunda cut in front of him and took that throw. Now he's got to take that throw back the other direction and try to put something on it. You have to have the shortstop who's coming. He should have the inside route and the second baseman the outside route. Great speed. Made the difference in that play right there.
So finally for North Carolina, a runner aboard here to start the 4th. And Reed Frank, the DH, is up. Fakes the bunt, and they go with a hit and run as Cavassini was off of first base.
Well, you don't see that very often where you're going to fake a bunt, bring back and hit and run. He had such a great jump. You might have just swung through that and he had a stolen base. But that's what's fun about the college game, is they do so many things to create.
Cavassini tried to steal the other night and was thrown out during the regular season. He was 16 of 24, which means he was only successful 2/3 of the time. Guy with that speed, you'd expect better.
Well, he's still learning this craft too. You know, we talked about that the other night. He had a short lead. Today he's got a bigger lead. I think his chances are a lot better of making it. But his little at-bat getting on base has totally changed how Jonah Nickerson's gotten out of his groove real quick. I mean, he's still throwing strikes, but now you put him in a stretch. He hasn't been in a stretch the whole game. You make him have to do different things. We saw him throw over. He's shaking off signs. They're doing a lot of different things. They're shaking him up already. That's what you have to do.
Nearly thrown away on the pickoff.
And that's why Cavassini is so valuable to the club. He's followed by 2 left-handed hitters. Right side of the diamond opens up. You make the pitcher have to throw over. It just changes the whole pace of the game.
This is Frank with Horton on deck. Looking into the dugout is Canham, who has thrown out better than 50% of the guys who have tried to steal against him this year. Cavassini goes, ball lofted to right field. Wallace and Cavassini will retreat to first.
Breaking ball up right there.
Obviously, with the hit and run play, they don't have, the faith yet in Cavassini on the straight steal.
You're right. That's usually why you put that hit and run on.
And of course, you get a gap shot with him. He walks home. 1 out, 1 on for Horton.
See, the college game is called by the coaches from the bench, and that's the only thing that I don't like about a lot of the college baseball, because the coaches call every pitch. They call the pickoffs. They control the game, and it slows down the pace of the game, and also it doesn't allow the players to really get into the flow themselves. And I think sometimes that takes a little while for catchers to learn and adjust when they get to the next level. That's not every coaching situation that's here today. There are a few colleges that, like Rice, for example, that
Rice
let their
is a
coaches run the
notable
whole
exception.
program.
Sure.
The players run the whole program, I mean.
On the ground towards second base. They get the force onto first, not in time. Fielder's choice and 2 gone.
Well, watch the base runner go right into the base, and this is the difference in that college rule. That allows the shortstop step across and get on top of it and throw it as hard as you can, and that's why this play is close. You don't see that necessarily in the pro game because he's got to worry about dropping down and maybe not putting as much on it, but protecting himself.
Oregon State has been very, very sharp defensively. No errors in the last 51 innings of the College World Series. And that's such a key to winning out here, and one of the keys to North Carolina coming apart last night. They didn't play good fundamental baseball.
And that is a phenomenal statistic. I mean, if you look at your favorite team, the Cardinals, that's why they always end up playing deep into the postseason, because they catch the baseball. When you limit teams to the 27 outs that are required, you got a chance to win some games.
Did somebody mention I was a Cardinals fan?
Yeah, somebody said that.
Okay.
I can't even call you a front runner either. You've been a Cardinal fan for so long.
Only since I was 4. Chad Flack 1-0.
And that's what I was talking about up in the Home Depot. See that slide, that cutter, that cut away from him. He's got to hit that ball to right fielder. He's not going to catch up to it. Here it is. Watch his approach. He's going to pull this ball. It just continues to run away from him. If he drives it to right, he's got enough power. We've seen him do it before.
That one's off the plate.
The other thing that does, Mike, is it allows the catcher, Canham, a clear angle to throw. Now all of a sudden he's getting that cutter in the left-hander's batter's box. He's stepping up and throwing, so it shuts down the running game too.
2 balls and a strike. Throw over to keep Horton close at first. No score here in the 4th. Took something off there and had him way out in front.
They're just going to live in that other batter's box till somebody, all you got to do is just hit a bleeder over there, and it's like, okay, now we got to come back inside.
Two to Flack, struck him out. 5th strikeout for Jonah Nickerson. He's on top of his game. He's given up only 1 hit through 4. Well, we've all put on the weight here in Omaha. Tonight's our last night here, and after this, it's home, back to the diet, back to the treadmill. Let's take a look at our Coke Zero game track, and it's all about pitching. Bard has only allowed 3 hits, struck out 4 in a row in the 2nd and the 3rd. Nickerson's even been better. 4 innings, only 1 hit, 5 strikeouts. Barney is 1 for 2 with a single and a stolen base, but it hasn't resulted in anybody's getting a run. Keep up with all of the NCAA College World Series information. Just log on to ncaasports.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships.
Mike, I got to say thanks to McGator's Catering, too, who's catered to us here in the tent the whole week. The food has been fantastic. What they've been bringing to the crew. Steaks tonight. Shrimp on the barbie yesterday.
This one's bunted down the first base side. You know, I have never seen anybody light up at the mere sight of a plate of food like you do. I mean, it's amazing. Somebody walks in with food and it doesn't matter what it is. It's just food.
I get it.
And you're still what?
It's nice.
130?
Yeah, I feel like it. No, it's still, you know, I don't know. I'm fortunate. I got that high metabolism. You see, I can't sit still up here. I'm always moving around. It's a good place to come, and you know, you can call a ball game and people bring you food. It's, you know, it's great. I feel like Joe Morgan.
You've got Joe Theismann's metabolism.
Telling you.
Tyler Graham leads it off in the 4th. He rolled into a fielder's choice his first time up. Back to the box, base hit. Every inning, Oregon State has had a hit.
Well, and it's not the fastball. You know, we talked about that. That was a slider he left out over the plate, and it's going to be interesting to see if he continues to not have the sharpness on that slider, because this is a ball that's 80 miles an hour as opposed to something that's 97, and you're really speeding up guys' bats, because if you're not breaking that much and you're throwing it that much slower, you're doing the hitters a favor.
Wallace, a strikeout victim his first time up. The throw over, and Graham is back. Maybe the 4th inning will be lucky for the Beavers. That's when they exploded last night after being down 5-0 to North Carolina, and it looked like they were done. Somebody forgot to tell them, though, and they got 7.
Well, they really did. So they came back strong last night. You know, and North Carolina had some blunders with communication. They've actually caught the ball pretty good in this College World Series.
They
themselves.
have. It was that 1 inning last night that really killed them.
He's got a big lead at first. And Pat Casey likes to run. Last night, Graham stole 3rd base and really kind of ignited things when they were down 4. He was going
over, had him leaning the other way.
Ooh. He's extended his lead, and you know, as a base runner, you young base runners out there, try to get the identical lead every time. Then you're not tipping anybody off as to if you're going to be running or not. He extended his lead, and all of a sudden that's telling me, uh-oh, it's a red flag. He's getting ready to run.
There he goes. Throw is high and they can't get the tag down. So a stolen base for Tyler Graham.
Now a lot of times you'll see a pitch out in that situation if they are able to see him get that bigger lead, but you can see he'll take another half a step right there. He's running. He's off and going. And because of the lead and the jump that he had, this is a good throw. But because of the lead, he was able to get in there.
So for the second time for Oregon State, they have a runner at second with nobody out. Wallace would love to pull something and get him over.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he's not bunting right here to just go ahead and try to move this guy to third base.
And look at what they have done. This one bunted toward third. They try to barehand it and throw it away. Back up, and here's the play at the plate. They've got a shot. He's safe. Wow. Garrett Gore was backing up the first baseman. The missed throw came right to him, and they had a play at the plate but couldn't make it.
Well, this is one of those great defensive plays, and yes, the pitcher bobs it and makes a throw, but you got to be impressed with Gore being there, and he throws a strike, and then Graham makes a tremendous slide to get around the catcher and score. He's got to go around the bat, the catcher's mask, and everything else, and still tap home plate.
Now Kunda, and he squares the bunt.
Well, one of Fox's frustrations has to be, Mike, that's 3 bunt plays in a row that they have messed up. You know, they're giving you an out, and if you bobble it right there, if you're barred, you hang on to it.
Oh, exactly. And they almost got away with it anyhow because Garrett Gore did a great job of backing up. Kunda, good bunt. North Carolina will make this play. The sacrifice works this time. Wallace goes to second.
Well, there it is. Just continually execution. You know, put the bunt down, execute, make them have to handle it. But they give you an out, you take the out, and then you deal with it from there.
Shea McFeely is up. He singled his last time into shallow right.
Well, you heard Kunda talking to Pat Casey. I thought you were going to give me a hit and run.
Kunda's been really good about moving runners over. He's driven in 4, even though he hasn't hit well. He's put the ball in play, and sometimes that's more important.
Yeah, and he's been your traditional second baseman. I mean, he's made great plays.
Outside first and foul.
Daniel Bard just has to regroup, get back to doing what he was doing all game long. He threw a bunt away, and that's really it. Other than that, he's been spectacular. Now, you just had a ball hit to the right side, and you got a guy throwing 98 miles an hour. Your second baseman needs to just forget about that runner.
But there's a huge gap between the second baseman and the first baseman. A little roller is going to go to right field.
Yeah, anything through there is going to be a run. So in that situation, as a second baseman, what you do is you start right on the base, let the runner see you. And then once the pitcher gets into the stretch, then you can back off because guys are not going to look again to see where you're at. And you can cover that ground. You can't be in 2 places at one time. But with a pitcher throwing this hard, I would think that, you know, you should be protecting more to your left and instead of maybe up the middle.
McFeely batting .292. This one smoked back up the middle. Cavassini gets it on one hop. Here's the throw to the plate. They cut it off, and it's 2-0. McFeely delivers with an RBI single to center.
Again, Mike, this is the breaking ball. You know, he ends up hanging another breaking pitch. Like we said earlier, all that does is speed up the hitter's bat when you got a guy throwing that hard.
Cavassini did all he could, charge the plate, or charge the base hit and threw towards the plate, but cut off, and it's 2-0. And Listman will come up. Two gone. Listman on the sacrifice. And it sends McFeely down to second base.
Well, they just feel like they're just going to keep putting that runner in scoring position and just keep the pressure on the defense.
On that Wallace bunt, they're going to credit Bard with 2 errors. One for bobbling the bunt, and then the throwing error.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I had to think about it for a second.
I think it's a good ruling.
Yeah, that's a good ruling. I mean, you're thinking if he
his first error, you know, allows the runner to go to first. The second error is the one that allows the run to score.
Yeah, you're right.
And Hovis is already up for North Carolina. There obviously is no tomorrow for either pitching staff. Hovis normally in short relief. Short becomes a relative term in the championship game.
Well, it does, and you got to do exactly what Oregon State did yesterday. They went to the pin to their big gun. This Hovis is the guy they love to come in and stop rallies. You have to go to him early.
Chopped towards second and thrown out. Garrett Gore is there to make the play. The inning is over, but 2 runs are home. When we come back to Omaha, Pat Casey, who has just seen his club take a lead, will join us. And North Carolina has still been limited to only 1 base hit in this game. Let's check in with Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. Joined right now by Oregon State head coach Pat Casey. Yesterday, North Carolina, a lot of mistakes defensively. What is your team doing tonight to continue that for them?
Well, we're trying to put a little pressure on them. You know, they're awful good. The guy on the mound is outstanding, and so, you know, we're having a little trouble getting the bats going a little bit. He's running the ball in on us, sinking the ball. So we just thought if we could get a runner on, we'll try to press a little bit. And he's kind of a hard guy to handle. We knew that they felt like we were going to sacrifice bunt there, so we just turned Graham loose and go for the straight steal, and then moved him over with Wally, and fortunately we've got a good break for us.
Now let's talk about your guy on the mound, Jonah Nickerson. How much longer can you expect him to be out there?
Well, that's up to Jonah, you know. He'll tell us when he's tired. Right now he looks pretty good to me.
All right, thanks, Coach, for joining us. Mike.
All right, thanks, Aaron.
Well, that was funny because Pat just disappeared, and Aaron's sitting down there going, where the heck is Pat at?
Oh, he was certainly right about Jonah Nickerson. He looks pretty good out there. 4 innings, 1 hit. He has been lights out, and he'll face Cox, Fedorovich, and Williams in the North Carolina 5th inning. Fastball for a strike.
Well, he's been able to throw. If he misses on first pitch, he's been able to get it back to 1-1, and that's the key for him, is he's able to throw those strikes early in the count.
Struck out 5, hasn't walked anybody, and that one got Canham, the catcher.
Yes, it did.
Umpires are real good about that kind of stuff. They'll go out, throw a ball somewhere, dust off the plate, walk around, just wait for the guy to get his breath back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cox hammered it foul outside first.
Well, he got away with one right there because that was a mistake. The balls he's been getting everybody out on with the off-speed pitch has been away. He left that one out over the plate. And Cox just missed getting it fair.
Guy's been a clutch hitter all year for North Carolina. This one toward the hole at short. Good play by Darwin Barney, but a poor throw. That one will go down the right field line a little bit. And no advance by Cox as he went in hard to first.
Well, that's the first error Oregon State has made in quite a long time. Darwin Barney, he did everything right. Watch him get down on this ball, but he just gets on top of it. Didn't put quite, he knew it was off target. As soon as he let that thing go, he knew it was going to be trouble. He was hoping the first baseman not save him, but wasn't able to.
Error on the throw. And now Fedorovich representing the tying run, as Oregon State has a runner aboard.
Well, the same thing as last night when Oregon State was down 5-0. You got the same feel from North Carolina. They just have to execute. Hit a ball through the hole on the right side, move it to first and third, do something.
Fedorovich, a .364 hitter at the College World Series.
And he hit a bomb last night. He touched one pretty good.
Didn't he ever? Into a 20-mile-an-hour wind, a high fly ball that just still cut through that wind.
You know, I thought it was interesting. The first pitch of this inning for Nickerson was a breaking pitch. You know, it came out and threw a curveball, and he hasn't located like he did the last 4 innings before this half inning.
2-0 to Fedorovich, a freshman All-American.
Talked about Fedorovich last night looking like a catcher. He just looks like a catcher. He's got the wrist taped up. Big, strong guy.
Well, he sure looks like a hitter, if nothing else, based on last night.
You know, Pat Casey was saying that Jonah would let him know if he wasn't. I think you got to watch a pitcher, and what I'm seeing right now is he's not locating like he was. And here it is, the 5th inning. You run into that wall a little bit. He's not throwing that cutter on the outside half to the right-handers, and he's missed on a couple pitches. Got lucky against Cox. That ball right there.
That one missed. 3 balls and a strike. Fedorovich looks down for a sign. First time he has gone to a 3-ball count, and this one is hammered toward right, but right at John Wallace. Now for a 30 at 30 Sports Center update, here's Bill Pito. Bill, thank you very much. This is Seth Williams with a runner at first.
Well, Mike, you go back to that swing that Fedorovich just took. Finally made an adjustment and hit a ball to right field. Looks like they're getting on to play a little bit more, taking that ball the other way if he's going to throw that cutter.
And hit it hard, too.
Yes, he did.
Williams, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Nice breaking ball in there for a called strike.
You can see Williams is back on top of the plate, too. Kyle, as a pitcher, you got to be able to see guys moving in the box. Do you not see that?
No, you can definitely see it, and especially with your catcher, too. I mean, that's when it's really important to be able to go back and forth with your catcher. And even if it's in between innings, talk about what guys are doing at the plate. But then it's making the adjustment.
This one toward the gap in right center, and this will get down and go to the wall. Here comes Cox around third. He'll score. And it's a stand-up double for Seth Williams.
There's driving the ball the opposite way, Harold.
Absolutely. I mean, there was two things talked about it. One, you can get on the plate and you got it. See his immediate approach is looking for nothing but outside. Take that ball the other way. Tremendous job making an adjustment. Now it's back on Jonah Nickerson and Oregon State to make an adjustment against the right-handed hitters of North Carolina. They've taken away the outside now.
Catcher Benji Johnson, the tying run at second here in the fifth. Breaking ball hit to left. Gillespie comes up throwing, and that'll hold him to a single. It's runners at first and third. Seth Williams got to third base, held up immediately. Inning started with an error on the shortstop, Darwin Barney, on a bad throw.
Well, that's what I love about the game of baseball. You have to make adjustments, and clearly they're making adjustments right now against Oregon State. Wise decision by Coach Fox to hold the runner up right there. Now you got a first and third situation. This is an interesting conversation coming up from Dan Spencer, the pitching coach.
Nobody yet in the Oregon State bullpen, and Nickerson has had a really efficient ball game so far until this inning. He has thrown 13 pitches and still only has one out in the inning.
Well, and it's the fashion in which he's thrown the pitches. A little timid, but also every ball they've swung, balls they fouled back they were on. And the line out to right field, then the gapper, then the single. So they're starting to get to him. You're asking a lot of him, Mike. He's already thrown, what, 220 some pitches coming into this game?
He pitched his first game on 2 days rest. Came back on 3. Or pitched his second game on 2 days rest. Came back for this one on 3.
They're going to pinch hit Spencer right here, which is a good move. I mean, sometimes you got to go for the juggler.
Spencer will hit for Garrett Gore, the tremendous second baseman.
There's going to be some changes defensively. You'll probably see Steve go to second base,
who played there a lot this year.
Yeah, but I like the move. I mean, you got to go ahead, and this might be the one inning you go ahead and try to get ahead, and you got a chance to run Nickerson out of the ball game if you're able to catch one right here and you get 3 runs on it.
Spencer, as the DH yesterday, went 2 for 2. The infield is back at double play depth at second and short. Outside. One ball, no strikes to Spencer.
This all started on the air by the shortstop.
Mistakes just come back to kill you.
Yeah.
Ooh, swing and a miss, 1-1. I mean, if you give a team more than 3 outs an inning, you're just asking for him to lay it on you.
Yep, and nobody feels worse than he does. He knows he should have made that play, just didn't put enough on it.
1-1 to Spencer, coming off the bench to pinch hit, swings over the top of another one.
Well, if you're Nickerson, you're looking for a strikeout in this situation. That's what you want to do. If he puts a ball in play, you may not turn 2 and the game's tied. You want to get a punch out and go to the next hitter and see what happens.
On the corner, strike 3 called.
Well, that was that 4-seam fastball, just straight over the top, straight, no cut or anything, and that's probably why it fooled the hitter. This ball doesn't cut at all. He just painted it right on the corner.
Boy, did he ever. Some nice pitching there by Nickerson. 2 breaking balls got him in under the hands, and a fastball on the outside corner to record that strikeout. And Harold, you're right, he needed that one. Now 2 outs. And he's a pitch away from getting out of trouble.
Cavassini had the first hit of the game, an infield bouncer back over second base. The Tar Heels have broken through finally against Nickerson here in the 5th.
Tough crowd, man. The ball comes off the screen. The ball girl missed it. That's all the booing in the background.
A run, by the way, because the runner reached on an error, is unearned. The first unearned run against Oregon State in the entire NCAA tournament here in Omaha.
Well, Mike, we talk about adjustments, and Jonah Nickerson's gone away from that cutter, and he's throwing straight fastballs now. And when you're looking for the cutter and it doesn't show up, you get a lot of looks.
0-2. Base hit. Game is tied at 2.
On that bat by the little guy.
0-2, and he comes through with a base hit to drive in the tying run. And Roy Williams is loving it.
Well, here's the fastball again. He did a nice job of just staying with this pitcher and going the opposite direction. Let it get back on him and just drove it to left field.
And this is what they want him to do, be a slap hitter, put the ball in play, and use that speed.
And you should have seen his fist pumps and excitement when he got to first base, and understandably so.
First and second for Reed Front. Still no action in the Oregon State bullpen. Cavassini drives in his first run of the College World Series. Had only had 4 hits and 22 at-bats coming into this game, has 2 tonight. And North Carolina has done a superb job with 2 outs. 11 of their 13 runs have scored in this situation. And I'm really surprised there's nobody up for Oregon State.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too. Now I can understand North Carolina come back with Bard. I didn't think they were going to take him out anyway.
But considering Nickerson's situation and obviously the change in his pitching in this inning,
I think that's what that conversation was with the pitching coach when they went out to the mound. But he's fighting to get through this inning right now.
Straight away center. Graham is there, and he will get out of the inning, but we're tied at 2. Mike Fox has just seen his club tied up. He'll join us when we come back.
Carolina tying it up here, 2 apiece. I'm joined right now by Tar Heels head coach Mike Fox. And coach, to tie it up, what adjustments did your team make with Jonah Nickerson?
Well, you know, he's just pounding the outer half of the plate, especially against our righties. We're finally hit some balls the other way and trying to see his breaking ball up. We've been swinging at it, and I think it's probably going to be a ball if we don't swing at it. So it's a big swing in the bat by Cavi right there.
You told me earlier tonight we have to limit the big innings. So what does your team have to do the rest of the way?
Well, we need to be able to defend the bunt. That's all we talk about. Let's just defend the bunt from here on out. If they beat us hitting balls in the gap, I can live with it.
All right, coach. Thanks so much, Mike.
Well, that's why you saw that reaction from him when he was sitting on the bench with his arms up in the air, because it was a butt play that they threw away.
That's right. Here's Brian Steed, who will come in to play second base. Steed hasn't played much out here, but did so much earlier in the season. And he replaces Garrett Gore, an outstanding defender himself, who was pinch hit for. So Bard will remain in and pitch here in the 5th. Finally some action in the Carolina bullpen.
Yeah, it looks like Hovis is back up again. I think the key to Bard, as you see Jonathan Hovis starting to warm up a little bit, is he's got to find an off-speed pitch. He's not going to have the same velocity as he did early in the game, 98, 99. There's 196.
Yeah, he's all the way down to 96.
Yeah, what a shame. But if you know he doesn't have a breaking pitch, believe it or not, that 96, you can slow it down.
Canham, the catcher, 1 for 2. Towards short. Horton throws him out, 6-3.
There we go. And you can kind of feel that momentum has swung to North Carolina.
Mike Fox, a longtime coach at North Carolina Wesleyan after playing for his alma mater, the Tar Heels, and comes back to coach them. Gillespie. Short hop to third by Flack. 2 out.
Well, the biggest thing that's happened for Bard right now is he's going to get his team back in the dugout quick if he's able to get this batter out. That's 3 pitches, and the pressure's right back on Jonah Nickerson and the Oregon State Beavers.
Rao, who was 0 for 2 in this game. Bard still pitching very effectively. Scattered 5 hits in this game, allowed 2 runs, and he's ahead of the dangerous Rao, 0-2. Hit to straightaway center field. Cavassini coming, and catches up with it. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. When we come back, we'll listen to what some of our 81 microphones have heard during this College World Series.
Make sure your eyes are relaxed and see it in rhythm. 1, 2, 3, move. We gotta loosen up. We've been doing it all year. At the board! At the board! At the back time! He's out! He's out! He's out! He's out! Get out of here, ball! Two more! Hey, 2 more!
We've got more microphones out here than the CIA. I mean, they are everywhere. Our audio guys just worked themselves to the bone with 81 mics on the field for the College World Series, including those that the umpires have been kind enough to wear.
Yeah, I really thank those guys because that takes some boldness to put that thing on.
Yes, it does.
Years past, they've worn a hat camera for us and helmet cam and everything else to take us inside the game.
I think you get more out of the microphone than you do out of anything else. You get to hear a lot of times what their reasoning was, how quickly they make a call, how definitively they make calls.
Yeah, you're right.
Horton fouls this one back.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Pat Casey and I'm sitting over there watching Jonah Nickerson, I'm watching the first pitch breaking ball, and then right there a fastball fouled straight back. His stuff is not the same.
He's against the 3, 4, 5 hitters in this inning. There's a line drive that will drop in front of Cole Gillespie in left, so the inning starts with a base hit. And there is some stirring in the Oregon State bullpen at last.
Well, they better hurry because I'm going to tell you what, this is going to be a dicey half inning if he's able to get through it.
Well, it really looks like he's running on fumes right now, which is understandable considering his pitching load here at the College World Series. But also keep in mind, Gunderson, their closer, went 5+ last night. And even though he says he's ready to come in and pitch tonight, you got to wonder how much he would have left in the tank. Here's Flack, struck out twice tonight. One of their red-hot hitters.
Kyle, who would they go to? They got enough guys down there to go to, right?
Yeah, I think they go to Eddie Kuntz first, and that's who's up and throwing right now. Now Gunderson's starting to make his way down to the bullpen. Kuntz is a guy that can come in and throw 95, but as it just, I mean, Nickerson has been so good for him, but the stuff just isn't the same as it has been.
Flack to deep left, but it won't carry. Gillespie about 4 steps short of the track will make the catch.
Well, he just missed that. I know Turpin's available too tonight, right?
Here's Nickerson, 114 pitches against Georgia, 109 against Rice. Tonight he's thrown 76. This will be his 300th pitch at the College World Series. And it's not necessarily the pitches, it's the fact that he pitched, came back on 2 days rest. Now he's come back on 3 days rest.
Yeah, that's tough because most college pitchers are going to pitch on the weekend, and that's a week's rest. You know, you're not used to throwing 2 or 3 days after a rest. You know, and it's not like you're throwing a bullpen. I hear people say that all the time, even with professionals. Well, it's his throw day. It's not the same when you got adrenaline flowing and everything else.
Sure.
You're facing hitters. They should be happy with what they've got out of him.
Cox reached on an error to start all the trouble in the 5th.
Well, and if you're North Carolina hitters, you got to be drooling right now because you're seeing him for the 3rd time. And they've made great adjustments. And Flack just missed that ball that he hit the left field.
The wind swirling a little bit now, still predominantly in, but not much of a factor. That's on the corner for a strike.
Well, I think Coach Fox realizes that his hitters are dialed in right now too. That's why you haven't watched anybody run. You know, you got Josh Horton on first base, pretty good base runner. They're just letting them dig in and swing them and give them that hole over there and let my hitters hit.
Fedorovich would be next. Nickerson's control has been outstanding. Hasn't walked anybody, struck out 6. Missed there to run the count to 3-1.
Ouch.
Off the pitcher through the hole in right field. That'll be runners at 1st and 3rd, and Nickerson had it ricochet off of him hard and go into shallow right.
Well, again, you know, great piece of adjustment. That ball's hit so hard. They're running on the play, and they might have got a break, that ball hitting him, because the second baseman's right there to back up. They might have got a double play out of that. You know, I think you got to get him right here if you're Oregon State. I got to come get him. You can just feel it, Mike. You know, you get a sense that they're going a little bit too long with him.
Fedorovich has a lot of power. Hit a line drive out to right field his last time up after striking out.
Well,
they may be coming to get him right now. Nickerson with a courageous performance. He's already gone 5 in the 3rd. Last night, Fedorovich. This thing is into a 20-mile-an-hour wind. He hit it about 1.5 miles high, and it still got out of there. I'll never forget the previous at-bat. A routine fly ball was eventually caught just behind shortstop. The wind was that strong, and Fedorovich put it up in the jet stream against him and still got it out of here.
Yes,
he hit it a ton.
Amazing.
And Nickerson will stay to face the hard-swinging Fedorovich.
We've watched a lot of baseball, and I've seen a lot myself too, Mike. You never leave it up to the pitcher to make a decision. If you ask him right now how you feeling, he's going to say, I feel fine, I want to pitch.
First and third, one out, bottom of the sixth. Inside to Fedorovich. Leads the club in RBIs in the College World Series. He has driven in 7.
Made a nice adjustment too. He's standing right on top of the plate. He's taking away every pitch that he might possibly throw.
It's a breaking pitch for a called strike. 5 of those 7 RBIs have come here in the championship series. So he's exactly what you want. Hot at the right time.
Yes, indeed.
Seth Williams would be next. Tied him up with a fastball inside.
Looked like he just lost it. He didn't see it real well. 625 slugging.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Fedorovich. He is a candidate for a double play. He's grounded into 8 of them, most on the ball club. There's the speedy Horton at third and Cox at first, who lined one off the pitcher into right.
I'd be surprised they did any running first and third, anything. You want Fedorovich to have a chance to just swing the bat.
Checking throw to first. Two on, only 1 out. Ball 3. Nickerson done. Really digging himself a hole here.
Well, he's done. You can see he doesn't have anything left. He's just pitching, hoping that he can locate and maybe get a ground ball. He's given a gutty performance, and he just doesn't have the stuff.
The payoff pitch, tapped to third. They'll come home. It's a tag play, and they got him. Now they've got a runner hung up between second and third, and they get out of the inning. Holy cow, what a break for Oregon State. North Carolina ran itself right out of the inning.
Well, this is one of those plays where you're going to go on ground ball contact. He starts to come up the line. Good read by Shea Feely to throw home. But the runner going from second to second, thinking about going to third, is what changed this whole play. He's already in scoring position. We got a crazy one. Make sure you come back. 2-2 here at the series.
It's a beauty of a College World Series championship game. Jonah Nickerson getting some relief on the bench as he got some relief from his defense and got out of the inning. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts. He has thrown 87 pitches, and in the College World Series he is well over 300.
They're rubbing him down like a prize fighter. They may as well just cut him. Cut me, Mick. I mean, holy smokes. He had that innovative sports sleeve on that helps your muscles and everything else, and I don't know if that's even going to help him right now.
We all do.
But North Carolina continues to help everybody out. You know, you can't run into that double play right there. You got the pitcher on the ropes.
Huge base running mistake. Not the runner trying to score from third. He's going on contact. That's what he's supposed to do.
Right. The runner going from first, second needs to stop at second.
Tyler Graham lofts it down the right field line and deep. Foul ball.
Wow.
That had a chance.
That was a shocker.
First pitch, everybody just sort of not even settled in yet.
Well, the wind is pushing it just a little bit, not like the nights before. This ball clearly foul. See? No, you didn't see it, did you?
No. Tyler Graham has 1 home run this year. He's not going to get another one. Bounces to third baseman Chad Flack.
Tough to get one off your knuckles right there.
Yes, it is. ESPN2 tomorrow morning. Coverage starts for the 120th Wimbledon Tennis Championships. The day begins at 7 a.m. Eastern. The latest news on Wake Up to Wimbledon, presented by Dell, then at 8 o'clock Eastern. 9 hours of early first-round coverage, including Andre Agassi's first match of his last Wimbledon.
How about that? Agassi retiring.
It is a young man's sport, and he isn't anymore, but he has had one heck of a career, hasn't he?
He has, and they said he was done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Chop back up the middle. The shortstop, Horton, nice play, 2 gone.
Tell you what, he's been overlooked, man. Horton is some kind of player. Handles everything out there. He's got nice range up the middle. He made a nice play the other night. He didn't throw the runner out, but I love his actions, how he gets rid of the ball on the run, no problem, just nice and easy, and you can tell he's got a cannon for an arm, just how he just flips this thing. But great range, and he can throw the ball from every place on the diamond.
Bard has retired the last 7 he has faced.
And he's had quick innings, Mike. Last inning, very quick. I think he only threw about 7 pitches. Right now, he's right here at 4 or 5 pitches.
Kunda off the fists. Steed, the second baseman, makes the catch. Very quick, very good inning for Daniel Bard. 6 pitches, 3 outs. We'll go to the 7th. Harold Reynolds, the Corvallis connection, and Harold is bringing you a 2-2 tie in the top of the 7th. Take a look at a couple of the key plays as Nickerson surprising everybody outside of the Oregon State dugout by coming back in. Here's a bunt play that North Carolina does not handle well at all. 2 errors on the same play on the pitcher. That allowed them to score a run, and then North Carolina ran its way into an unusual double play. The first one was routine, but a base running mistake results in a rundown and an inning-ending double play when North Carolina definitely had Nickerson on the ropes, and he is back out there to work the 7th. He'll be facing the bottom third of the order.
Well, and the bottom third has really swung the bat well. Williams with a nice double last at bat. And they've made a great adjustment from the first and second at bats of the game to the third to now 4th ABs, facing him getting on top of the plate and taking that ball the other way.
And the center fielder Graham playing well toward right center, expecting Williams to go the other way.
And the ballpark's playing a little more fair tonight because the flag is not, the wind's not blowing like it was the last couple nights. You got a chance to hit a ball out to left field too. It's falling behind 3-0.
Fastball is in there.
It's 84 miles an hour. I just can't see how he's in this game. But we say it all the time. The coaches know the players better than we do.
Now it's to the point where they could conceivably bring Gunderson into the ball game, and that is the first walk by Nickerson, which may be the best sign that he's tired. His inability to locate those pitches.
Well, they're probably wondering, okay, are they going to bunt? They're probably going to leave him in thinking they might bunt the man over, but this is an interesting situation if you're North Carolina. Do you bunt here because you got the pitcher on the ropes? And Benji Johnson had a ringing single to left field his last at bat.
Yes, he did. No sign of a bunt. Fastball at the knees on the inside corner.
I like the way Mike Fox has directed the game. I mean, he's been paying attention to what's going on in the mound. He's letting his hitters hit. They're making great adjustments, and they're putting the pressure on Oregon State. Think about that base running blunder last half inning. You know, you're You got Williams coming up and Johnson after him with the runner at second base.
It's a very young North Carolina team. This ball's bunted in the air, but it falls harmlessly behind Canham, who can't get it. I mean, you can go with the talent of freshmen and sophomores, but with them, no matter how talented they are mistakes because they don't have that much experience.
Yeah, that's going to happen. And especially in a game like this, you try to do more than you're actually capable of doing.
0-2 to Johnson.
Your adrenaline gets flowing, and you just haven't experienced that before.
That one ripped back on the screen. Kuntz appears to be ready in the Oregon State bullpen.
This game's everything that it was built up to be. This is tremendous. They've given us a great game.
Benji Johnson, the sophomore catcher, swung at a pitch a foot outside and struck out.
A lot of times you'll see when a guy tries to hit, then he tries to bunt, then he tries to hit. He's got so many things going on in his mind up there at the plate. He's forgot to focus in on getting a pitch to hit that's a strike. And that's look what Benji looked like right there. He looked like somebody that just wasn't ready to hit.
This is Steed who will come in as a hitter for the first time. He was a defensive replacement earlier in the ball game.
And you may see a hit and run with Steve. He's a guy who can handle the bat real well. Or a bunt for a base hit even.
One out here in the 7th inning of a tie ball game. Inside. Well, no matter whatever happens from here, you got to hand it to Jonah Nickerson.
Oh,
he's giving you everything he's got.
It's been phenomenal.
And then some. Only 3 pitches away from 100. His other two starts, well over 100. Number 98's a good fastball at the knees. Patterson, the sidewinding left-hander, as Coons is already ready, will get warm.
Well, this is the action count. That's why you see him throwing over to first base a lot. You're anticipating a hit and run or something in this 1-1 count. Everybody's playing cat and mouse right now.
Which one's the cat?
Well, I don't know. I see a Beaver and a Tar Heel down there. So. This is a great count right here, 2-1. You can do a lot of things as an offensive team with a 2-1 count. And you look at the third baseman, McFeely's back. You got second baseman over towards first, so you can hit and run. You can drop a bunt for a base hit. You can do a lot of things because the pitcher's probably going to throw you a fastball, and he has to throw a strike in this count.
Runner goes. Steed chops it on the ground towards second base. Kunda has only one play. That's to first to beat the diving Steed.
He executed the hit and run. He did what he's supposed to do. The thing you're trying to do in a hit and run situation is get that runner to second. If you can get it through and find a hole, that's just a bonus. So really it should be a sacrifice. But they don't give you that in the stats.
No. Century mark or better in 3 straight games, and here comes another trip to the mound, and they're looking to see if everybody is ready in the bullpen. They want to bring in somebody to face the left-hand hitting Cavassini. A standing ovation for Jonah Nickerson. and he deserves every little bit of it. A courageous job of starting his third game in Omaha. Omaha, Nebraska, the championship game for 2006 of the NCAA Baseball College World Series. Top of the 7th, 2 out in a tie game. And Kyle Peterson, we have a new pitcher.
And left-hander Joe Patterson coming on. And I think the reason they left Nickerson in this long is because of where Carolina is in the lineup. Now, Cavassini, the left-hander, starts with 3 lefties in a row, and that's Patterson's strong point. He's coming in to face the left-handers, a pretty good fastball, but he really uses a slider. If he gets ahead, he'll try to expand the zone away from these guys.
And this will be his 4th appearance in this year's College World Series. That fastball misses. Patterson 0-1 with a 2.08 ERA.
Well, I can see how he'd be tough on left-handers. He steps at you and throws the ball across his body.
That one's way outside. Cavassini has singled his last 2 times up. And Nickerson goes 6 2/3. 7 strikeouts, 1 base on balls, and 6 hits. Allows the 2 runs. Both were unearned. Strike is in there. And in his 3 starts out here in Omaha, 323 pitches. He's going to need a nap.
You're not kidding.
Way outside to Cavassini.
Well, I think this is the guy Patterson's got to think about getting. I mean, the next 2 hitters are really the heart. You know, you start getting to the heart of the lineup, but they're probably the 2 of the hottest hitters and best hitters from the left side anyway. Ooh. Not good. Not good when the batter says.
And look at the sheepish grin on his face. He turned around and said, "Oh, that looked pretty." Oh, it was a ball. Home plate umpire's not going to like that one.
No.
You know, when the hitter can't believe it's a ball.
You know, I did that one time. I thought it was ball 4, and I threw my bat down, ran down to first base, and umpire called a strike, and I came back and I said, "I better be swinging, huh?" And he said, "Yep."
Kyle Shelton will pinch hit. 331 home run hitter on the season. And let's see if they'll stay with the left-hander Patterson. And no, they won't. Here comes Coons.
Let's see if they stay with Shelton.
He's headed back to the dugout. We'll check it all out when we come back to Omaha. It's 2-2 in the 7th. Critical point in this ball game as we're in the 7th inning of a 2-2 tie. 2 out and 2 on. Kyle, another pitching change.
Eddie Kuntz now on for Oregon State, and really a guy that has closer stuff, a fastball that you'll see get into the mid-90s and a really good slider. And guys, talking to Dan Spencer before the ball game, the one thing he said was Kuntz is probably good for about 2 innings. At that point, they'll have to make a decision. That would get him to the 9th. That's the point we might see Gunderson again.
Gunderson, of course, for those of you who weren't there last night, went 5 1/3. He's the closer. And speculation that he might really be burned out, but he said he'd be ready to go a little bit tonight if they had to have him. Reed Frank takes it low from Coons. Gunderson got the win last night. He's tied for the national lead in saves. Shelton is the pinch hitter.
This is a big at bat right here. He hits a ball in the gap. That's going to score 2 runs with Cavassini at first base. And you got infield back. It may be just 1 run that makes the difference in this ball game.
Chopped down to first. Rowell let it play him. Came up with it anyhow and gets the out. We'll go to the bottom of the inning. Still tied at 2.
The NCAA College World Series on ESPN. The Championship Series is brought to you by Omaha. Proud to support our troops. Visit americasupportsyou.mil. And Wagner Power Painters. Paint fast. Paint smart.
Back at the College World Series, Omaha, Nebraska. Great ball game for you. 2 teams locked up in a battle for the national championship. 2-2. 11 hits between the 2 ball clubs. And Daniel Bard, the starter, remains on the hill. He has only thrown 88 pitches. 75 of them have been fastballs.
Well, you look at Mike, they had him on the ropes. And then the 5th inning, they started hacking. The 5th and the 6th inning. And that's why his total's only at 88 pitches. I shouldn't say only. This, if they work him, he might get out of this. But I've been very impressed with Daniel Bard. He's got a tremendous fastball. He's kept the velocity the whole game. He repeats his delivery well. And, you know, he just has missed on a few sliders, but that fastball's been almost unhittable today.
And a strike called to McFeely leading off the inning.
You know, you start the 7th with the fastball on the black at 96. You got to be feeling pretty good about yourself.
Missed just inside.
And a lot of times you see Miller up there and Hovis.
Miller, the ace of the staff, the left-hander who would be available in short relief tonight, along with Hovis, who you would expect to come out of the bullpen.
And you're wondering, you know, a lot of times you got pitch counts on these guys. That's his 92nd pitch. I'm sure they probably won't let him throw more than 100 and 110 pitches.
One gone. Fedorovich is right there. Miller, the 6th man taken in the entire draft. The Detroit Tigers picked him. I think he has just a brilliant future, obviously.
Well, you got to think if you get into a bullpen war that North Carolina's got the advantage. Unless you throw Miller in the mix. You've already got Hovis down there and Kerrigan. You put Miller out there. That gives you 3 pretty strong pitchers that are well rested.
This is Listman. On the corner.
That was just nice and easy gas. Just pow. 98.
Fastball is high. So you've got a 1st-round draft choice, number 6 overall, as a starter. Now you've got another 1st-round draft choice, also a starter out there warming up, and you have a sensational bullpen.
Gee, and North
the
Carolina
normal relievers. Yeah, how about that? 2 gone. Let's go back to the studio. SportsCenter 30th 30 update with Bill Pito. All right, Bill, thanks very much. 2 out, nobody on in the 7th. Darwin Barney stands in.
The Red Sox game was a day game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Ouch.
Almost hit him in the hands. Flack comes up to throw him out. The 7th is over. 1, 2, 3 for Daniel Bard. A very strong 7th inning. Let's take a look at our Coke Zero game track here in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's tied at 2 in the 8th. Bard, an impressive 7-inning stint, 5 hits, 1 earned run. Cavassini's gone 2 for 3 tonight. Nickerson, a courageous performance on short rest, 6 2/3. McFeely, the hitting star so far, 2 for 3. To get all the College World Series box scores, brackets, quotes, log on to NCAAsports.com. It's the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Dallas Buck is up and throwing. Another starter who may be pressed into bullpen action for Oregon State.
Well, Dallas Buck said, hey, look, if they're talking about me having surgery, then I may as well just throw. It's not hurting. I feel like I can pitch.
Josh Horton will lead it off here in the 8th.
Well, this guy's a player, and he's a tremendous hitter. He hits all fields, and he shows patience right there. Take the strike. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
3, 4, 5 in the order here in the 8th inning for North Carolina. May be their best shot to break a 2-2 tie. Still playing with some sunlight around 8:30 local here in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm sure the people in the Northeast would like to see any sunlight the way it's been raining.
Oh, it's been terrible out there.
That one's inside. Two balls and a strike to Horton, who is 1 for 3 tonight. That's way outside.
And you may.
It's what Buck did against North Carolina on Saturday. Gave up 3 and 6 1/3. Fouled straight back.
I thought you might see Horton take a strike right there, but let's go ahead and make him work because he has not really located real well so far. But he looked like, I guess he felt he had a good pitch to hit and let it go.
The 3-2 outside. ESPN2 tomorrow morning for your coverage of the 120th Wimbledon Tennis Championships. The day starts at 7 Eastern. The latest news to wake up to Wimbledon, presented by Dell. Then at 8 a.m. Eastern, you can catch 9 hours of early round coverage. Andre Agassi has his first match of the Wimbledon, where he will retire. And finally at 1 a.m. Eastern, highlights from all of the day 2 matches on today at Wimbledon. As they say over there, right well. One of the great events on the world stage for sports.
Well, this would be interesting. You have Flack, your 4-hitter, trying to bunt, and you know he probably hasn't bunted much. You look at those numbers right there. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get the ball down.
He's had 1 sacrifice this year. Here's a guy who is 3rd on the team with home runs, 13, and has driven in 68. That's the best on the ball club.
You know, sometimes you just come to the part of the order where you just say, we're just going to have to hit our way through it.
bunt, chop toward first, and foul.
In other words, I was saying I don't like having him bunt, you know, being kind about it, but I think you got to let, when you get to the middle of the order, you're fortunate that Horton's on base and he's a guy that can run. I think you got to let your 4 guys swing.
Well, he's your single season all-time hit leader with 111. Nobody's ever had that many in a single season at North Carolina. He's hitting .370 in a College World Series. And the game is on the line. He still may get a hit, but you've at least started him off in an 0-2 hole. That's outside third and foul.
Yeah, I think you got to give him a chance to go up there and look for a ball to drive in this ballpark. And if he hits a double play, hits into a double play. But I think you got to look at him saying, I got a chance to juice one in the gap or hit one out of this place and put us ahead. When you're down 0-2, now you're hitting what the pitcher, if he makes his pitch and doesn't make a mistake, now you got to hit what he's throwing.
And Eddie Coons has not exactly surprised anybody out here. Went 2 1/3 innings and has an ERA of over 15.
Ouch. That'll bring the rain in Corvallis.
Well, what won't? Just waking up. Oh, 0-2 to Flack, throw over to first, and Horton is back. Cox will be next.
I think if you get a ball right here and it goes to a 1-2 count, then you might see Horton run, and you still, as a base runner, you're still got in the back of your mind, even as a coach, they might pitch out 0-2.
Like a bullet back through the box, base hit. Line drive to center, runners at first and second with nobody out.
That's just flat out overthinking. You can't let a guy get a hit on the 0-2. That's a great piece of hitting by him. He gets a pitch in the middle and just takes it back up the box. And this is what I was saying. I would like to see what he'd have been able to do if he started that at bat 0-0 and been able to get a pitch to really try to drive. Right there, he's just protecting and trying to get a hit. Nice piece of hitting, Mr. Chad Flack.
Yes, it was. And he has just been on fire out here, their most reliable hitter. And you want to talk about run producers, how about Cox and Fedorovich, the next 2 guys in the order?
Well, I think, again, you know, you're probably going to see Cox bunt him over to third base. I don't have move the 2 runners up. I really don't have a problem with that because the other guys are so hot behind him right now with Fedorovich and Williams starting to swing the bat tonight.
Well, if he bunts him over, I never give Fedorovich a chance to hit.
No. And I like the fact that Coach Fox is letting him swing. I think you got to let him swing. If he hits into a double play, you still got to run at third base, but you got a chance to break this game wide open.
In the dirt. Cox has been clutch for this club this year. 15 home runs, 63 driven in. Here's a kid who will hit it to all fields and hit it a long way, and they're going to make a pitching change. Another one on 2-0. And this puts a guy in a major hole, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's going to put some pressure on Dallas Buck to come in and have to throw strikes immediately.
We'll check on Buck when we come back to Omaha. Back in Omaha, smiles all around for North Carolina as they're threatening here in the 8th, looking for their first national championship in baseball. Let's go to Kyle Peterson. Kyle.
Thanks, Mike. Dallas Buck now on for Oregon State. We saw him start just a couple days ago, and that was a day where he really had great stuff. The sinker was working. We saw a ton of ground balls, but a couple things to look at. One, it's his first relief appearance of the year. 18 starts so far this year for Buck. And I think the second thing, too, and the reason why he's in there, Oregon State needs a double play. This is a guy that rolls a ton of ground balls. I think that's why they went to him, even with a 2-0 count.
Tough situation to start in, Kyle, when you come in and it's 2-0. Grounded to first. Bobbled. They only get the out at first. Had an easy force at second. Rao couldn't handle it.
Well, that ball, sometimes you start thinking about what you should do before you catch it. And you would have had a force at second base instead of getting two. You might get that lead runner at second and keep first and third situation. Fortunate to get the one because he almost dropped that.
Fedorovich, and this is a situation where we were talking about with first base open. He's not going to get a chance to hit.
And look where he's standing on top of the plate. He's looking, he's thinking about Miguel Cabrera right now. And if he throws anything close, he's swinging.
Yep. This will load him up for Williams.
But Dallas Buck got the ground ball like Kyle was talking about.
And that's all he can do. He comes in and gets a ground ball. His defense has got to play well behind him, play well enough at least to get the lead runner.
Baseball's such a funny game. I mean, you think Rao messes up by not turning two and getting that runner at second base, but it might have been the best thing that happened. Fedorovich is the hottest hitter on the team.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy how the game works.
When a mistake might benefit you. Now Williams walked his last time up, has a double and 2 trips. The game is definitely on the line right here.
Well, the interesting thing is, how do you play your defense? And do you go ahead and try to make sure you cut off that run at home, or do you try to turn two? And that's what that discussion at the mound was right there. Now, I think you play your middle infielders. They're good enough to turn two. I think you got to turn two and be able to also knock a ball down and not give up 2 runs.
Well, especially as Kyle said, when you have somebody who is a ground ball pitcher. And they've played excellent defense to this point all season long. And in the College World Series for the most part.
Now, if you're Williams at the plate, you got to still keep that same swing he's had all game. Take that ball the opposite way, because they're not going to give him much inside to hit.
Tried to check his swing and didn't.
And there it was, a slider on the outside half.
No balls, 2 strikes to Williams. Dallas Buck, who has won 12 of 15 decisions this year as a starter, coming in relief, trying to close the door, and struck him out. Huge strikeout for Buck.
Yeah, that was a money pitch right there. That's why I was saying, if you're Williams, you just go ahead and think about going to the right side. They're not going to give you a pitch to pull in this situation. That's a ball that's totally away.
Two outs now. The lead run still at third. And a foul. Benji Johnson in the hole, 0-1. He has a base hit tonight.
Well, the one thing that Dallas Buck didn't have the other night, he has it tonight, that breaking pitch.
He really got it tonight.
Like a wiffle ball.
North Carolina has scored 11 of its 13 runs in this championship series after 2 men were out. That one misses high.
That's amazing. That is an amazing stat. That means you got great concentration as a hitter. And that also tells me they probably played a lot of games that they blew people out, because you have to concentrate when you get 2 outs. Not giving away at bats.
Outside third and foul. 2 strikes. And the ball to Benji Johnson. Bases are loaded. Horton at third, down at second. That's Flack. Fedorovich with the intentional walk at first.
He's going home. He's stealing home.
Struck him out. Boy, would that have been something.
No run.
Would that have been something?
You know, Mike, I was thinking about that because he winds up and he takes so long. This would have been a great idea, but he's out on strike 3. I think he's actually going to be safe on the pitch. I do too. But you get the swing and miss. That's why I love Josh Horton, not afraid to gamble. But there's a strikeout and he caught it, and that's the key. Ooh. If he drops that, that is a run.
What a play. And we're still tied at 2. There is Jonathan Casey, the son of head coach Pat Casey. And when Oregon State players drag during practice, Coach Pat Casey reminds them what fortunate individuals they are. The coach and his wife Susan extend appreciation for life, which is inspired by their oldest son, Jonathan.
Jonathan was born with some brain damage. 2 or 3 years old. He was not speaking. So we just started taking him to doctors and neurologists, and you know, he's just some type of a birth defect.
When he came down with diabetes, we just said, gosh, this is too much for the guy. And he just looks at me and tells me, oh, Dad, I hate this diabetes. And I said, I do too, but we're going to get through it. It's hard. There's nights I go to bed, there's some tears on my pillow. That's the one thing I would change, is that he'd be healthy. Not necessarily normal, but healthy. John's attitude for life, it's unbelievable to me because it's just him. It's what he is.
Everybody knows John. He walks down the streets and they know him more than they know Pat and I and everybody else.
We work our whole life to try to get people to like us, and here's a guy that just walks up and all of a sudden creates a special spot in everybody's heart for him.
To go through life every single day with a smile on your face puts life into perspective. He'll be up there leading cheers on, and you know, after the game, he's jumping up and down, the most excited person in the stands.
We're gonna win it this year, I think. We're gonna win it this year.
So hopefully we can get that win for him.
John's got a unique ability to really not only create an attitude within himself that influences people, but change their attitude.
The good Lord gives you things that maybe help everybody else kind of understand what the perspective on life really is.
Well, what a great attitude they all have, Aaron Andrews.
Certainly do, and when you see how excited this Beavers dugout is, when Oregon State beat Rice to get to the championship series, the first one to hug Pat Casey was Jonathan. It was an exciting moment. He ran down to the dugout, and Coach Casey said his son has a thing where he doesn't really like to be touched, but he ran up to his dad and said, Dad, I just want to hug you. And you know, if they pull it out, he'll be the first one down here.
That's really neat. Thank you, Aaron. Sometimes we forget how human all this is. It's not just numbers and teams and bats and balls. It's human beings and tremendous emotion.
And everybody's got a story, and you know, it's amazing how the impact of a young man like Jonathan can have on not just Oregon State, but anybody he meets.
Mitch Canham, here in the 8th, hits this outside foul. 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Daniel Bard, who slumped a little bit earlier in this game, but apparently has found his rhythm again. Maybe a second win, whatever, but he's still getting it up there around 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's bringing
with location.
No doubt.
Bard has retired the last 11 men he has faced. And Oregon State, like North Carolina in the top of the inning, that one's chopped off his foot.
See more balls hit off their feet.
Yes, we have. Some of which haven't been identified as such.
That's true too.
Had a couple of guys called outstanding in the box, tending to themselves while the umpire ruled it didn't hit them. Oh, 2, try to get him to chase a high fastball.
Tell you what, Mike Fox has done everything to try to get his team to score a run. I love the style that he plays. He's aggressive, man. He has fun. He would be fun to play for.
That attempted steal of home was unbelievable. Hit down to first. Fedorovich is there to the pitcher covering, one gone.
Well, Mike, you always want to try that as an element of surprise. Let's go back to the play. He needs to get to about right here if he's going to make it. The key is the pitcher's in the windup. As soon as he sees the windup, you see him walk, and he disguises it perfectly, and he's off and going. I tell you what, if it's not strike 3, he's safe. And that was a tremendous call because it shocked everybody. And the offense wasn't clicking. He saw that Dallas Buck had his best stuff working, and it's going to be tough to score a run. I love the gamble. I love the gamble, Mr. Fox.
Actually had a steal of home in 2000. Stephen Feehan of Louisiana Lafayette. But it is such a rare play, and probably one of the most exciting plays in any sport anywhere. It's just so unusual.
Well, you don't see it very often in the big leagues, and I would love to see it because you catch guys that get lazy, particularly when they're playing over 162 games.
Ripped and caught. Steed was there to spear the line drive. Big play.
And you're probably wondering what in the world is he doing over there against Gillespie. Well, Bard is throwing so hard that you're not expecting anybody to pull this. He went and snatched that ball. Nice range to go get it.
On the button, and now Rao with 2 men out and nobody on in the 8th.
You know, they got to be thinking about, you know, you got Andrew Miller down there, and Bard, you know what he can do. He did it yesterday with the big home run. That's what this conversation's about. They're actually trying to stall to see if Miller's ready. I got to go with Bard. As good as he's throwing the baseball, I'm not taking him out. And they're going to come get him. And we're going to see Andrew Miller.
He's retired 13 in a row. Both runs he's given up unearned. There's another thing I like about Mike Fox. Always seems to have a smile on his face.
He's enjoying the moment. And, you know, you got a group of kids that believe in him. Look at, they're all smiling. Whatever he's talking about, they're enjoying it. Now look here, I got a #1 draft pick down there in the bullpen. He's left-handed, 6'6", throws 97. I know you've been throwing the ball great. You got 106 pitches. What should I do?
Now, why would they be delaying at this point? They've obviously made up their mind. He's ready.
He's making sure for himself. Do I leave you in? And Bard was able to talk him into leaving him in there.
Well, that answered my question.
Yeah. Well, he's had an easy 106 pitches. You know, sometimes you see 106 pitches. I know a lot of people are saying you go get Andrew Miller, but it's a different thing when you're coming in out of the bullpen. He's in a great groove right now. Now I'd go get him. 98. He knows this is his last hitter.
Rao is 0 for 3, but he's been on fire in postseason.
I mean, where is this pitch? I guess that's up.
Well, it was up around the belt buckle, I thought. Good looking pitch. That one's too low.
You know, the one thing that happens a lot of times when you walk out there, now you got him thinking. He was just, here, give me the ball, I'm throwing. I mean, you look at Oregon State's at bats they've had, he's thrown maybe 7 pitches an inning since the 6th. Since the 5th. Coach comes out, talks to him, now he can't throw a strike.
Well, we talk about hitters stepping out, trying to break his rhythm. Actually, North Carolina did at that time with the visit to the mound.
Well, Mike Fox saying that's 2 strikes to this guy. What are you looking at? He's all over the ump.
That's one. 3 balls and a strike to the cleanup man, Bill Rao.
I think that's a perfect pitch. 97 on the outside half. You got to live out there. If he's going to beat you, make him beat you with an opposite field home run.
Came inside and walked it.
They're going to come get him now.
Tyler Graham will come to the plate. That is the first walk that Bard issued.
Watch Bard here. He's wondering, where are those pitches at? What else do I have to do?
College, you can't say much. This is not like the major leagues where you can wolf a little bit and get away with it. You start wolfing at these guys, and even with under these circumstances, you're going to find yourself watching.
Yeah, you do. And it's tough. I mean, sometimes you play gamesmanship with the umpires, and it depends on who the ump is. And you got guys coming from different conferences. Sometimes you don't know them either.
Tyler Graham fists this one, and it drops. That'll put runners at first and second. And the frustration factor for Bard has probably gone through the roof right now. A walk that he didn't like the calls, and then a little fister for a 95-foot base hit.
This ball is just right on the knuckles, and if that's a wood bat, it's shattered in half. But it's not a wood bat. That's a good piece of hitting, and you run the pitcher out of the game.
And they're going to go to Miller. Bard will be done here in the bottom of the 8th after giving up a walk and a single. One first-round draft choice will be replaced by another as North Carolina tries to preserve a 2-2 tie with Oregon State. And Bard will get a tremendous hand from the North Carolina faithful and his teammates, and he deserved it too. That's what they're playing for, the NCAA championship trophy. In the bottom of the 8th with 2 out. Let's go to Kyle Peterson.
Guys, Andrew Miller on the big left-hander who started most of the year for this North Carolina ball club, but Wednesday came in to close, got 1 out and hit 100 on the radar gun. But how about the day for Daniel Bard? Guys, the last off-speed pitch he threw was the 4th inning. His last 42 pitches for Bard were all fastballs.
And they were good ones too. Ryan Gibson is the pinch hitter, hitting for Wallace. Central Point, Oregon, his home. 1-0, 2 out, 2 on. Fastball right there. 95. So a first-round right-hander replaced by a first-round left-hander.
You got to be impressed with both these guys watching them pitch. I'm real fortunate to be able to see them. Daniel Bard was outstanding, 98, 97. And then Andrew Miller, I've seen a couple times already, as is impressive.
This started as most rallies have out here with 2 outs. Rowell with a walk. Graham, a little humpback liner for a base hit, a little bloop over third. Now Gibson, the right-hander, pinch hitting. Towards second. Steed. Poor fundamental defense did it again. A routine ground ball to second base, and Steed threw it wildly. Holy cow.
Well, it just rips my heart out to see a play like that come down in such a great game. You know, he's trying to hit the first baseman a little bit on the move. He just pulled this ball and just made a bad throw. You hate to see a game like this come down to a bad throw, but that's what happens in baseball sometimes. And you know, one of the reasons he wasn't playing is they wanted to have the defense. That was Gore playing the defense for him, and you just feel for young Steed right now. That's just a tough play.
Runners at second and third. And the shock on the face of the North Carolina players, and you can understand it, that is the most routine of ground balls. And there's Gunderson, 5 1/3 last night. Probably the best closer in the country. And he says they didn't burn him out. He's ready to go again. And Jonathan Casey, Pat's son, loving every second of this. Boy, and if you're the Tar Heels, your heart's stuck in your throat right now.
Well, and you got to regroup real quick, too, because you know what? Now you got a situation with a guy who can drop a bunt for a base hit. Now they're going to make a pitching change. Miller came in and did what he needed to do. He got the ground ball. They pinch hit. He got the ground ball guy. But, you feel for Brian Steed right now.
Don't you? Jonathan Hovis, who has the best earned run average in the NCAA. He has been lights out every time he has come in a ball game. He has just been brilliant from start to finish of the season. And Harold, you're right. It just crushes you to think what that young man's got to be going through.
Man, it hurts, you know, and you hate to see such a great ball game come down to that, because you know he's going to think about this for forever. You know, it's one of these plays that stays with you your whole lifetime. But he'll get over it. He'll get through it, and you know they still got another at bat.
But that's been the book. North Carolina, with all that youth, a chance to make mistakes on defense. They did it last night, and it cost them a 5-0 lead. They do it tonight.
Well, Pat Casey said one of the things he wants to do is put pressure on them. Now, you think also you got a catcher playing first base. You know, a little bit of a wide throw. You have somebody else who shifts their feet to catch the throw who's used to that.
That's the other thing I was going to bring up. He's standing right on top of the bag waiting on the throw instead of maybe being a little more ready to move around.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll dissect that forever.
Steed will have a chance to redeem himself. He'll lead off the 9th. Baseball tonight coming up when we're done. And now North Carolina still trying to get out of this inning.
I'll tell you what, this is not a bad time to drop a bunt. Just shock everybody.
Hovis with the best ERA in college baseball, 1.17, making his 38th appearance. He has been lights out. Here's Kunda. Breaking pitch is in there from Hovis. Runners at second and third, 2 out, 1 run home on the error, and Oregon State with a 3-2 lead. 2 of their 3 runs have been unearned tonight. It's got to be so hard for coaches to concentrate on the inning and not look ahead to the next one and think about what if. Popped to shallow center, and Horton goes back to make the catch. Brian Steed will lead it off in the 9th. A chance to atone.
3 out, baby. Let's go. Come on, boys.
(3-2) Oregon State over North Carolina. As we go to the 9th, let's take a look at our Pontiac high performance moment. And a downer for North Carolina. Steed, routine ground ball, comes up, throws it away. The lead run scores. And Oregon State, on a play that is not made by North Carolina, gets the lead, and Steed will lead it off here in the 9th inning.
Well, it's a lonely place. I mean, I've thrown balls away before too, and that, you know, it stays with you. Maybe not in a game of this magnitude, but it's going to be around for a long time. You know, you never know how things turn out for you. And one of the things I like about Mike Fox, first thing he does to him before he goes up to hit right there, gives him a high five.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy, let's go.
Koa Kahalahoy is the new right fielder. Hereafter known as Koa.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call him.
Got it right the first time. I'm done. Fastball for a strike. Dallas Buck stays on. Gunderson will be ready.
Yeah, you got the lefty Gunderson looking at all the other lefties in the lineup.
That's low to Steed.
This may be Dallas Buck's best role in his future, is coming out of the bullpen, because he can get so many ground balls. Throws a lot of strikes.
Baseball tonight coming up when we're done. We're in the 9th. North Carolina needs a run to stay alive. On the corner, 2-2. After this, we'll go back to the top of the order. And Harold, you're right. 3 lefties. And you can't imagine Gunderson wouldn't come in to face them. Breaking pitches low, 3-2.
See, I've never really been a big fan of a 2-2 breaking ball, because when you a 2-2 fastball, you know what's coming 3-2 now if you miss with a breaking ball on 2-2.
Struck him out.
I mean, it's a tough call for Pat Casey, but I got to leave Gunderson. I mean, I got to leave Dallas Buck in the game.
Cavassini stands in. A couple of base hits and a walk. That is the 3rd strikeout in a row for Buck. Fastball at the knees to Cavassini.
I think the way you're looking at this is, remember, they had a pitch hitter, so you got a right-handed hitter on deck, and then you go to the lefties bunched together, and so you're going to maybe see Gunderson to come after Horton if he gets this next out.
That's right. Kyle Shelton is the man on deck, and if they can keep it alive for Horton. The last guy they want to see come up is Flack. Fastball back up the middle, base hit from Cavassini.
He's been special tonight, hasn't he?
Sure has. Shows you what kind of a future he has. That's his 3rd base hit.
Well, he has no quit in him. You know, beginning of the year, he started off, he struggled as a leadoff spot. They took him out of it, and they put him back in. He struggled here a little bit at the College World Series. In the last 2 nights, he has come on.
Shelton stands in 0 for 1. Now the question is, do you run Cavassini? Cannon behind the plate, a terrific guy at throwing out runners. And Cavassini, not a very mature base stealer as yet. That one's way outside to Shelton.
I don't know. I think you don't run him here. I think they probably won't run him. Maybe a hit and run.
Tell you, he could score from first on a double with that speed. Too low.
You got both sides of the field chirping on some pitches tonight.
One out, one on in the 9th. Shelton outside first.
You know, again, they hit and ran 2-1 last time, so they're back to that 2-1 count again. And the question here is, do you think Shelton can put the bat on the ball if he happens to run? As a base runner, I never like to run on hit and run, because what you want to do is you want to wait to make sure the pitcher throws.
2-1 to Shelton. Soft toss over to first. Both Cavassini and Shelton checking the signs. This is for the national championship. Neither one of these schools have ever won one in baseball. Oregon State has only won 1 team championship in its athletic history. Pat Casey knows 2 is 2 outs away. Foul.
Foul ball! Foul ball! Hold him! Foul ball!
Crowd got excited about it there for a second. Boy, can Kunda turn a double play.
He has got some hands down there. I mean, that's worth a replay just to watch him turn it. All right, here's the foul ball. You get a great angle at it. This ball, once again.
Great call.
Great call, foul ball, but watch him turn this too. So quick.
I mean, Bill Mazeroski was the best defensive second baseman I ever saw. Best turning a double play, and Kunda's got hands like he just redirects the ball.
Yep.
2 on. North Carolina has the tying run at second base. And the heart of the order. Boy, and Pat Casey not happy. That's outside.
Neither is Dallas Buck. He wanted that too. And here comes Gunderson. He was running before the coach gave him the signal.
19 saves, ties for the national lead.
Pat Casey's making a little double switch. I thought he was coming out. He wants to really talk to him about the pitches. He's not really talking about a lineup. That's not a lineup change face right there. He's talking to him about where are those pitches at. You know, sometimes you try to disguise it like he doesn't come out there and tell him I'm making a pitching change.
That's a good excuse. Here's what Gunderson has done in 4 games in the College World Series. He's won 1, saved 2. And this guy's just all heart.
Well, that's about all he's throwing with tonight. He said earlier, yeah, it may only be 84, but you know, I put it where I want it. They're not gonna hurt me that bad anyway.
He's the one who stood up after being here last year and says, I guarantee you we are coming back to Omaha. And he helped this team live up to his prediction.
Well, I really think he's going to have to get to 2 guys, because unless Horton hits a bullet right at somebody, you're not going to turn 2 on him.
No, he can run.
That was an interesting play, though, on the 3-2 count right there. They elected not to run Cavassini. And if he's able to locate, you might get a ground ball right there to get a double play. Now you got runners at first and second.
And here's more on number 6 from Aaron Andrews.
All right, Mike. Well, you guys talked about Kevin Gunderson and his heart, and you guys, I think, even called him the horse last night. You got to ride him to victory. He told me today in the lobby of the hotel, and even standing here in the dugout, it wasn't his arm that was sore, it was his legs from all the work that he did last night. So that should be interesting to see here as well.
Well, usually if you're a power guy, you use your legs, and that's what he was talking about. If you're in North Carolina, you got to be feeling pretty good. I know Roy Williams is.
He said there was no way he was going to miss this.
Huge baseball fan, loves this. You're at the heart of the order.
Horton is up. Flack would be next. Gunderson. A chance for his 20th save of the season, which would be the best mark in college baseball. And more important than that, a national championship for Oregon State. Fastball hit down to first. Throw to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time.
Woo! Right on top of him. They both hit at the same time.
And Gunderson lost his shoe getting over there. He's running out of there, trying to get over there. Now, I was surprised that Barney even tried to turn this because of who was running. Watch Gunderson coming over. He doesn't even have a shoe on.
Shoeless Kevin Gunderson. Doesn't quite have the ring of Joe Jackson.
No, it doesn't.
First and third, North Carolina down to its last out in the presence of the red-hot Chad Flack, who's been held in check tonight, 1 for 4.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, Mike. I thought they were going to have to throw to 2 hitters because you're not going to turn it over on Horton. He just runs too good. They made it closer than I anticipated it, but
yes, they did. Flack, who holds the single season record for hits in North Carolina baseball history, has 112 base hits this year. Team's only played 68 games.
He did not swing.
Started him off the slider. Now first and third here with Cavassini at third and Horton at first. You know, they tried to steal home last time. We'll have to watch this at bat. A lot of things could happen.
But this is out of the stretch. In the air to shallow center. Graham is under it. Oregon State wins a national championship. There's Jonathan Casey on the way down to see his father, to help him celebrate one of the great moments in their lives. That's great. Wow. And that's tough to take. Harold, you've got to hand it to Oregon State. From game one out here when they lost to Miami, they have had their backs to the wall. They've had to play from behind. They have had to survive one elimination game after the other. They have done it. You just got to take your hat off to them. They've been outstanding.
6-0 in elimination games, and it is absolutely incredible what they've been able to pull off. They tight-roped all the way through this game. Here's the last out.
Well, that's one you catch with two hands, isn't it? No matter what. And there is Gunderson.
I'll tell you what, when you start talking about MVPs of this series, you got to throw his name right at the top of that list.
1 win, 3 saves, I would think. And there's Jonathan. He's loving it. And the heartbreak on the other side, because North Carolina, in its best year ever in college baseball, comes up a run short in the best-of-3 championship game against Oregon State.
Well, I know there's a lot of people in Boston that thought in their lifetime they'd never see the Red Sox win a championship. And there's a lot of folks in the Northwest that probably think they would never see a team out of the Northwest win a national championship either. Absolutely amazing.
We talked about Oregon State's pitching, and I think everybody was convinced, hey, these guys are fried. There can't be anything left in the tank because they had pitched so many innings, pitched on short rest. Gunderson, the closer, pitched 5 1/3 last night, and he comes in and looked just as good as he did last night, getting the last 2 guys out in the ninth.
Well, we talk so much about coaches know their players better than we do. And Pat Casey obviously knew. I mean, you can second guess him. And one of Pat's favorite sayings was, if I'm not being second guessed, then I'm not doing something right. And tonight you can second guess, well, what are you doing going that long with your starter? What's Gunderson doing up? What's Buck doing in the game? You know, and you can go back to both sides and second guess. These coaches should be commended for the way they've managed these teams.
Jonathan Casey and his dad, the head coach, Pat Casey, with really a great cause to celebrate here in Omaha. Back after this. Oregon State the winner, and not only is it their first baseball championship in school history, it is only the second national championship of any kind for the Oregon State Beavers. They won the 1961 cross-country championship in the NCAA. Congratulations to them on one of the great moments in Oregon State history. Let's go down to the field and Aaron Andrews.
Well, we're in the no splash zone section here, as they already dumped the Gatorade on myself. And I'm going to introduce right now Larry Templeton, NCAA Baseball Committee Chairman, with the trophy. Go ahead.
Coach, on behalf of the NCAA Baseball Committee, congratulations on becoming the national champions.
Thank you very much. We're very proud to represent Oregon State University, and this has been a long time. And thank you very, very much.
All right, Coach, well, let me grab you here. Not going to let him go anywhere.
Aaron, good luck getting him out of that crowd.
Yeah, well, watch this.
Snatch him out of there.
Coach, first baseball national championship, the first one for Oregon State, and the first national championship since 1961, as you get a hug from your beautiful wife. How do you put it into words?
I now, I'm just so happy for the guys. We've worked so hard, as well as North Carolina. What a great ball club. And we've played so many great clubs along the way. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to the Lord that he gave me this opportunity to coach and to have a family and then have a big family with these guys. So we're very fortunate. We're very proud. And I just, like I said, this series had some great clubs. I want to give them all credit too. Thanks.
Absolutely. We saw the wonderful feature that you and your wife, speaking about your older son, Jonathan, what did he say to you when he walked up to you?
He told me, he said, "Dad, I love you." So I guess, man, I've been saying that for so many years, and he finally returned one for me.
Coach, 6-0 in elimination, and with everything this team has been through with lineup changes, injuries, what is it about these guys?
I don't know. You know, I talked to Coach Murphy on the phone after we lost the first one. He said, if anybody can do it, you guys can do it. Your club comes back all the time. And, you know, I felt pretty good about that. We work hard as well as all the other clubs, but there's something special about our guys and their character and what they do. And, boy, what an unbelievable evening it is for Oregon State University and this group of guys.
Well, you go enjoy it. Congratulations.
It's been fun, too. You've been outstanding.
Thanks. Mike, you have two, and I'm going to toss it up to you and Harold right now.
Well, thank you, Aaron. The feeling is mutual, and whenever you have a team celebrating a national championship, you have to feel for the other side, especially the way they lost it. North Carolina had the best record they've ever had in college baseball, and an error late in the ballgame on a routine play is the deciding play.
Well, it really is. You know, you look back, the opportunities they had, they threw a lot of, you know, a base running mistake, the throw on the play from second base, but that was kind of the Achilles heel of this club from North Carolina, was the possibility of making mistakes. But hats off to Mike Fox, the gamble to steal home. A lot of excitement out of that ball club. Two #1 pitchers, they performed like they're capable of. But Oregon State, they did everything that a club's supposed to do to win it. They capitalized on the mistakes, and they played with a tremendous heart.
For Harold Reynolds, Kyle Peterson, Aaron Andrews, Mark Ameto, Dave Dare, Aaron Owens, Scott Johnson, and our entire ESPN crew, thanks for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. It's taken 11 days, 16 games, and great moments to crown a champion. We're counting the days till we're back in Omaha.
We welcome you to the 60th College World Series.
Well, we took the field on a perfect day. It was right out of a dream. Never seen a sky so crystal clear. Never walked on grass so green. And in the stands when they clap their hands, I can feel it in my chest. And they come from almost every state to find out who's the best. So put me in, I'm your man, I can do it all.
North Carolina advances to the championship series.
To breathe the air back home in Omaha.
It's over. Oregon State will play for a national championship.
Well, it feels like it might be time somebody